It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau is here. Jeff Jarvis is here. Coming up, the latest Pixel enhancements. October's Pixel drop is here. Plus Android 15. We'll talk about the pros and cons. The end of uBlock Origin on Google Chrome. It has begun. And should kids be protected from the internet? Believe it or not, there's actually some debate over that. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 790, recorded Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. Invalid URL removed. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show we get together and talk about the latest news from the Googleverse with Paris Martineau. She writes for The Information, in charge of the weekend. Well, you're not in charge of it, but part of it.
I am in charge of the weekend. I'm the one who makes sure it includes both a Saturday and a Sunday, and I haven't screwed up yet. You're welcome.
Excellent work, by the way, Ms. Martineau.
Can you expand it, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe add Friday.
Can you take in Monday and call that the weekend,
I
please?
do think that we should expand my kind of purview here, and that it should be kind of a 3-4 day weekend every week. But I don't know.
I love that
weekday
idea.
Guys are
I love that idea.
getting on my ass.
Also with us, Mr. Jeffrey Jarvis, who maybe will have a new job someday soon, but until then, he's still the professor emeritus, the Townite professor emeritus of journalistic innovation at the Craig
Newmark
School of Graduate School.
I don't know
of
if you
Journalism
see,
at
because
City
I'm on the
University.
screen. Paris also sings.
Yeah, we all sing.
Craig should know that Paris sings. I don't hear you singing, Leo. Should we do this again and make sure we can hear everybody?
The real reason...
Hit
okay,
it,
go ahead.
Benito.
Craig, Newmark.
There we go.
Emeritus.
Emeritus.
He's also the author of some really good books, including the Gutenberg Parenthesis at the Gutenberg-parenthesis.com. And the brand new one is the Web Weave. And of course, don't forget his book about magazines. Because so kids, there used to be, it's funny. I mentioned Paris must see the headlines in the New York Post as she walks by the kiosks every day. And to which Jeff said, there's no more kiosks.
You really
Do they have
can't.
boxes with newspapers in them?
No. And the newsstands
It's
were designed.
so
see
hard to
them.
find newspapers nowadays.
You can't. You really can't.
I've talked about in this show before that after, I think one of the times Trump was impeached, or maybe when the Capitol was stormed, one of those days, I
wanted to
walked
save it.
all over Brooklyn trying to find a newspaper.
Well, it's
I went to
Brooklyn.
multiple places that were that are labeled on their outside as newsstands. Not a newspaper to be seen.
Wow.
But you could get some things to smoke there.
That's true. Now they're all called like Zaza Zoom, and they sell.
I was
weed.
at Grand Central Station. We did our photo walk there the day after lunch with you guys. And what is the name of the famous newsstand in Grand Central Station? I can't remember, but I saw it. I said,
Hudson News?
yeah, it was like Hudson News. I said, oh, great, a Hudson News. They're selling like plants. They don't have.
No, there's nothing. No.
There's nothing. There's no news.
No, and then the street newsstands that were redesigned, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, when they did have newspapers, they were on a shelf under the front, and you couldn't see any of the headlines. You could see nothing of them. But now they don't even carry that anymore. They're a place to get water.
Yeah, now they
They're an
carry
oasis.
like candy, lotto tickets, vapes. That's about it.
Vapes, lots of vapes.
Well, it's kind of sad. I like reading the news. I don't really need newsprint. Trees don't need to die. I actually get a local newspaper delivered every week, the Petaluma Argus Courier. It's fun. It's sad, they took out the best part, though, which was the police blotter. I love
That's not woke now, you know.
Yeah, well, that's why. Because it was always about really dumb criminals doing stupid things. And I guess, I don't know why they took it out. YouTube takes a baby step toward labeling authentic video. See, we have a Google story. This is a new label called Captured with a Camera.
Wow.
This is how far.
Capture it.
This is how far we've come with AI. So apparently it's so easy on to make content that looks real but isn't, that they actually have to now authenticate the videos. I have a camera that has content credentials. It's not clear yet whether those will trigger the YouTube labels. You might have to fill out a form or something like that. TruePic is an authentication service. So let's go look at their video. Let's see if it. Okay.
Hey, this is Jeff from TruePic, and I am standing in the same exact spot that 19 years ago, Javed Karim.
Remember that? The very first YouTube video? And apparently this is... but how is it authenticated? I don't see where the authentication is, so... No.
Could be fake.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really could be nowadays. It's so easy to fake stuff like that. But where's the thing? I don't... oh, wait a minute. Here it is. You have to... so it's hidden away under the More button. How this content was made, captured with a camera. Can you believe this? This feels like a joke. This content was captured using a camera or other
recording device. We're not saying what kind that might be. Let's learn more, Leo.
Wow. Building trust. So do you have, there is verification technology. So you have to use a certain kind of camera software or mobile app. So
I would hope that your phone would qualify.
I don't think it does.
Is it modified? Is it considered as modified if you like edit the video normally, like, to...
Yeah, so this is a problem right now, which is the chain of custody, right? Oh, I captured it with a camera, but then I completely modified it. So some of Adobe's tools have this kind of certification. This Leica camera I have, the M11P, will put a kind of a stamp on the picture that says, yes, it was created, and even as a serial number, created with this camera on this date and time. And then if you edit it with an Adobe tool, the Adobe tool will add to it without removing it. But it's just as easy to edit with some other tool that strips it all out. And then you have no verification.
We've simply just got to put every YouTube video on the blockchain. That'll solve all of these problems.
The standard, for all I know, they are. The standard is the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA. This feels like something that nobody's going to pay any attention to at all.
Yeah.
You have to buy special hardware. So it was founded by Microsoft and Adobe. Member companies ARM, BBC, Intel, and TruePic. That guy was from TruePic. It's a standard, but where's the list of products that support it? Nowhere.
Hey, they've been working on this for 3 whole years. Clearly, they've got a lot to show from it.
I mean, I understand the motivation makes sense, right?
Yeah, but
I think it's anyway. We'll see. YouTube is saying, on the help page that you need to use this C2PA credentials. So you have to specifically use tools, not just C2PA, but C2PA version 2.1 or higher.
Don't be using C2PA 1.2.
No older C2PA. Edits that break the chain of provenance or make it impossible to trace a video back to its original source will, of course, invalidate you.
But what edits define those edits? What Paris' question.
That's a good question. Like if you just change the white balance, that shouldn't.
Or if you cut off.
Or what if you just like cut off, because you.
No, you could do that.
Talking.
It says significant alterations to the video's core nature or content.
What if it's a green screen video?
Well, what is the core nature is what green screen I think is okay. It was captured.
I'm curious as to could you put a tiny banana in the video, rotoscope it on, and then at what size of a banana would that be a problem? I think that's
The
the
Paris
exact
banana
That is
test.
test.
That
yeah.
is the canonical tiny banana test.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Paris
also-
is a
there's also that
standard-setting
Disney
organization.
video wall that Star Wars, they shoot all the Star Wars on now. You can do that too.
Yeah, but that would be shot with. That would be.
Yeah, but the intent is to like not be able to fake people out, and you can still fake people out with stuff like that.
Yeah, because of the background. So this camera, this is the only camera I know of that supports this standard. Actually, it doesn't even support this standard. It supports a different standard. But it is.
Cute little case on it.
Isn't that cute? Yeah. I do that so nobody realizes that it's a fantastically expensive camera. I want it to look like my dad going, "Hey, I'd like
It's
to
a
take
Mavica.
a picture." Huh? Yeah, it's a Mavica. So there's competing standards in addition. Plus, apparently, yeah, like you say, 1.0 ain't going to do it. You got to use C2PA 2.1. These are baby steps, is how The Verge categorized it.
So there we began the show.
That's the beginning of the show.
It was
Now, would you like to talk about something else?
Yes.
Wimbledon. I know you're a big tennis buff, Jeff. You used to go to the U.S. Open every year.
Yep.
Wimbledon is going to replace line judges. Wimbledon is the big, probably the most important tennis tournament of the year, right?
Watch it, fella.
Bigger
It's
than the U.S. Open.
Open.
Bigger than the U.S.
Hey, hey.
It's the biggest grass tournament of the year.
Well,
Anyway, no more line judges. They're going to have technology.
they're the last one.
Everybody else does it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just the last ones.
So
Next you can wear blue there, I guess. I don't know.
but they require white. Do they
Yeah.
really?
They're the only ones that do that.
Wow. So it's the oldest Grand Slam tennis tournament. The All England Club announced that technology will be used to give the out and fault calls at the championships from next year on. So they didn't have line judges at the Open this year?
No, nor I'm pretty sure
Okay.
I'll have my wife, but no.
So according to, you're right. It says, according to AP, the French Open is the only Grand Slam tournament without some form of electronic line calling.
I feel like that's going to stay the same way. The French have strong
Yes.
labor
No.
protections.
Yeah,
They're like, we will not
argument.
be using a robot to judge these lines.
But that's a perfect example of something that AI could do perfectly, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know where the lines are marked, they're very clear. That's easily done.
But I'd also say it's, an example of something that while AI could do perfectly, it would make perfect sense to me for a stodgy, tradition-obsessed sports organization to be like, no, we must use human judges for all of this to preserve the heart of the game.
Well,
I need Paris to do the accent to the entire show.
she should be Paris.
Have you guys seen?
Falls
Have you
this
guys
show.
seen 7 Days in Hell?
No.
I watched this recently. It's a sports mockumentary that essentially focuses on a 7-day-long tennis match between champions played by Andy Samberg and Kit Harington.
Oh, I
and it
love
is
it.
so
Kit Harington, who is Jon Snow from the
Yes.
the Game of Thrones.
It is such a funny, it is presented like a real sports documentary.
So the idea is they had to play for 7 days straight.
Well, the idea is they get in a match, and I guess I don't
nobody
remember
can
the
win.
rules of tennis, but
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
can win, and they keep,
Wimbledon was that way.
getting 1 point versus 1 point, and
Yeah.
so it ends up lasting for 7 days, and it goes through all of it. They've
Serena.
got an incredible cast. I'd really recommend it. It's a delightful watch.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. All right. According to the AP, line judges at Wimbledon were dressed in famously elegant uniforms and, for traditionalists, were part of the furniture at the All England Club. Well, that says something to aspire to.
Yeah, they're gone.
They can just
gone.
keep them there and have them announce what the AI decides, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have their voices announce it. So when it's out, there's a human recorded
Out.
voice that says out.
Out. We have a
make that a
human
person.
voice
Make
that
that a
says,
Hey, hey,
I could have John record out.
hey.
Ut.
Out. Ut. Ut. You're out. All right. Well, I didn't really see. I thought that was a big deal, but it isn't a big deal. It's one of the last to fall.
Yeah. So far, we've had a standard for video that no one can pay attention to, and a meaningless
I want to make this show
Hey,
about
guys.
meaningless stuff.
Using
We're trying to get the people on TikTok to watch this show. You can't be denigrating the show while we're recording it. Those kids have got to be saved from all the dancing videos.
I should mention that for the first time we are streaming this on TikTok. We are now on 8 different channels as we do the show live, and there are 533 people watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, X.com, TikTok, Discord. What's the 8th? I don't know what the 8th is.
Sleepy.
The radio.
Soapy.
The radio.
Soapy.
Okay. Kick. Did I leave Kick off? I did. Kick. Okay. So that's 8 different ways you can watch all the shows that we do live. And I think that's kind of fun. We like doing it that way. We encourage you to subscribe to the shows still, but you can watch us do it live. You watch us screw up live. And that's even that's even more fun.
So how many on the TikTok, on the Twitter stream now, how many does it say are watching right now on Twitter?
I don't know. Well, I guess I could go
144.
140. So we don't.
Well, you see, now let me just tell you something.
Yeah.
Today, when I was streaming AI Inside on my Twitter feed,
Yeah.
according to, which number are you using, Benito? A number from Twitter or?
This is Twitter's number. It says 143.
So my Twitter number is more than 2,000.
Wow.
That's why I want to share to my friends and say, look what I'm wasting my afternoon doing.
Well, share it.
Well, I
It's
can't.
evening, Jeff.
Well, send them. Look, just post on your
No,
X.
I can't.
Say,
No,
hey
you see-
everyone.
No, you see, if you actually share it, then Twitter says it's live. Jeff's live. Puts a little live around my face. Does all this stuff. But the only way I can do that is if you put us on whatchamacallit.
Oh, if we were on whatchamacallit, we could do it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
If we were on whatchamacallit.
Save me here, Benito. What is it?
A restream.
Restream live.
We
Yeah.
would need to add his account to our restream, basically.
All right, I got
Here's
a
the
subject
problem,
we can
Jeff.
talk about.
Here's the problem.
Okay, let's continue
If we
talking
did
about
this,
the-
we would have to fire
specifics
Benito
of
because he's the
streaming.
guy who's doing the switching.
No.
No. We
All
need
I'm
to
doing
add-
is taking the finished stream and putting it up on Twitter.
Well, it
That's
is
all
on Restream right now.
But what would have to?
No,
what
I'm not on
What we would
Restream.
have to do is that we need to get Jeff's account on our restream. You see, so like
I
we
see.
would need to take up one of our slots here to one of our streams.
Oh, well, we only
I
have
don't
8
wanna be a
slots. I
slot.
ain't giving you one of our
Oh,
8
no.
slots.
That's what we would have to do.
2,000
Imagine
people,
you
though.
listing
Think of
off
that.
the 8 places we're streaming, and then one of them is and Jeff Jarvis's Twitter account.
9.
All right. I'm sorry. You're right. You had something going on that you really wanted to talk about.
She's trying to
Paris
No,
Smartest.
guys, we can keep talking about the details of how this podcast is streamed.
No.
I'm sure people love that.
No. By the
I
way,
was thinking we should talk about the wild WordPress drama of this week. Have you been following the latest updates?
oh, it is a
But
problem.
first, Paris, if I may, before we do that, I think it's a newsier update. I think Leo was not listening. I think you need to talk about your re-education that you're going through. So I think everyone will be very interested in
Oh,
this.
yes. Yesterday, I took my first class of one of what will be 4 in my New York Citizens Pruner course, which is a way for me as a guerrilla
You've
gardener
always been
to
an
go
unofficial
legit.
citizen pruner.
She's going legit.
Now
Yeah.
you're going
There's
official.
a way to go. So for those who don't know, I've long been a guerrilla gardener. During the spring, summer, whenever the trees get too low, I will use some nice pruning shears I carry around with me and trim them so pedestrians don't hit their heads on them. I would say public service. Turns out there is a whole program where the New York City Parks Department will teach you how to do this, care for trees in various ways, and then at the end deputize you as a official citizen tree pruner, meaning in November, I will have a license to prune any street tree I find.
License to prune.
So I told you this would be worth it.
I will get a literal license.
Wait. That lady's using a saw?
Yes, I
yeah,
can
you can
use
use a little-
saws. I
Sure.
can use a bunch of stuff at the end of this. I'm going to learn how to do it all. A pole saw.
But are you going to wear your protective glasses?
Look at this. You
Well,
could
I
go
already have
around
glasses.
dressed
Yours are big
like this, and here's a guy teaching her how to cut. Because you want to cut on the bias, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to learn it.
Yeah, you don't want to look. Wait a minute. I love the people staring at this guy. Well, that's really interesting.
Wow.
Show us how you cut on the bias.
They have a whole section. If you go down there to, I guess, like their code of conduct, I think it's up the top. There's a whole section at the bottom that's like what to do if someone aggressively stops you, and it confronts you about trimming their tree, and you're supposed to like show your license, try to de-escalate the situation.
Oh, you get a card, like a little special.
Yeah, no, you get a license. So I learned about this because New York Magazine wrote about it, and I just posted a link in the Discord. Apparently, when someone had sent me this article
the title is "Walking Around New York City with a Tiny Saw," which you do.
I do.
You do.
But apparently, I didn't realize this. It is a hot ticket. It is very difficult to get a seat in this class. They write, a deluge of interest often means the website crashes when signups go live. The last class filled up in 11 minutes. What? It was 7 minutes the time before that. I read this article, then fully forgot, signed up, on their wait list, saw the day was coming when signups went live. I forgot to set an alarm and I was like, oh no. Then I get an email that night saying, oh, our website went down and no one was able to sign up for the tree pruner class. So we're doing it again on Friday. And so I was like, all right, I'll set an actual alarm. I remembered I logged on at 7 p.m. sharp. That exactly when it went up, half of the spots had already been taken. I checked out with my course.
Paris victorious.
And I got it. But apparently I learned at my class last night, I'm one of the very rare people who got it in their first try. Most people in the class had tried 3 or 4 times to get in. So,
That is so exciting. We are so proud to be working with you.
Yes.
Congratulations, Paris. That is really
well, you can congratulate me when I actually get the license.
Is there
I'll have to take a
test. She has to pass a test.
Of course you can. Yeah. So what are the rules? Don't stand on a ladder or a trash can. do not climb the tree. You are an ambassador of street trees, so keep the peace.
Yes, a lot about it is peacekeeping, apparently.
And if you get confronted, stop pruning and walk away.
Put down the saw.
It's best to avoid the fight as, quote, this is a big city with many other trees that need you.
7 million trees, as I learned last night. Approximately 1 for every New Yorker.
Whoa. How many?
It is one of the things that makes New York great.
But do they
quite a lot in Brooklyn, though actually a significant amount of green space is in Staten Island.
Oh,
I learned last night.
Yeah. But honestly, I mean, Central Park is one of the greatest urban. It is the greatest urban park I'm aware of. I mean, even the Tuileries, and this is and without Central Park, New York City really would be a barren landscape.
Well, Central Park, Cleveland. Yes, but also just the various trees that are on just the streets of Manhattan and Brooklyn.
What would dogs pee on?
Makes New York City, well, they shouldn't pee on it because that actually harms the trees, as I learned. It's one of the 5 contributing challenges that
That's why God made fire hydrants.
But,
you walk around Petaluma, every god darn tree has this little dog on it that says, do not pee on this tree. And I feel bad for the dog owners because, like, what do? They walk around with the dog holding it until they find somewhere it's okay?
Yeah, I mean, you can curb your dog, which means have them pee on
that's
the
what they want you to do. Aren't there signs that say
curb your dog?
Yeah. So the WordPress.
Anyway. But that was worth it, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh my God, was that worth it? That was the highlight of the show.
I think we have to design. Joe Esposito, I think you must design, only when she graduates, an official tree pruner hat. An NYC pruner hat for Paris.
I think we need an official song.
Okay, only if I pass though, guys. We can't.
We're the men who cut the trees. We walk around
Sexist.
Manhattan all with our pruners in our hands, ready to chop, chop, chop whatever they're long. Anyway, that's enough of that. Do you have a salute? There should be a little tree salute that you have.
No, it's this. You
Oh, it is. It is that.
snip. Yeah, you snip.
Yeah, you snip.
That was
TikTok,
literally
You
the
think
best.
this is just weird? No, this is what we do.
The rest
But
of the
it's fun.
show is not going to be as good as that. That was the best.
Okay, come on, guys.
No, it's going to be better.
Better
be better.
job of selling this show.
Yeah, I agree. I should this is a good time to take a break. When we come back, we will do the WordPress drama, which is now actually
There's so
starting to be
much
problematic
drama.
for open source in general. I think it's starting to be a problem.
it's a really actually interesting discussion about open source, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our show today brought to you by Bitwarden. Speaking of open source, the open source password manager, the only one I use and recommend, because I think really anytime crypto is involved, open source is important so that you know and others can verify that the crypto is good and strong and there are no backdoors, there's no privacy violations. That's Bitwarden. It is the best password manager, offering a cost-effective solution that could dramatically improve your chances of staying safe online. I figure if you listen to our shows, I'm sure you know that you need a password manager, and I'm sure you use one. Although I'm constantly amazed by the people who are otherwise very technically savvy who say, "Oh, I just reuse my passwords." Oh, that's a big no-no. Because if there's a breach, and there are always breaches, right? That reusable password, they're going to just try it everywhere, and now your security's out the window. Or, oh no, I just used my dog's birthday and my mother's maiden name. That's not a strong password. Bitwarden creates long, strong passwords that you couldn't possibly remember. That's important. If you can remember, it's not a good password. You can't possibly remember, but you don't have to because Bitwarden does. Bitwarden also supports passkeys, which someday will replace passwords. We won't have to go through this nightmare. And one of the things that's great about Bitwarden is you can take it with you everywhere. Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android. Bitwarden's everywhere you need passwords. And those passkeys go along with you, which is really great. Now's a very important time. In fact, if your friends and family aren't using Bitwarden, tell them about it. Because the holidays are here. We just had Prime Days, Cyber Mondays coming up, Black Friday. And of course, when there's a lot of online shopping, the bad guys come out in force. That's why Bitwarden just announced the expansion of their inline autofill capabilities, not just for passwords now, but includes credit cards, identities, and passkeys. Autofill means that they won't fill in on a fake site. So one of the ways bad guys go after you is with phishing sites that look exactly like Amazon or wherever you're trying to buy stuff. You might be tempted to fill in your passwords or your credit cards or your identity there, your address. Bitwarden won't let you. Bitwarden says, no, that's not what you think it is. This enhancement benefits everyone, enabling a more secure interaction with web forms for not just passwords, but payment details, contact info, addresses, and more. If you're in business, you'll love Bitwarden's unparalleled SSO single sign-on integration and flexibility, which means you can easily and quickly safeguard all your business logins using your single sign-on security policies. You set the policies, Bitwarden enforces them. They're fully compatible with SAML 2, OIDC, and Bitwarden ensures smooth integration, no matter what your existing solution is. Thousands of businesses, including some of the world's largest organizations, trust Bitwarden to protect their online information. And because Bitwarden's open source, the code can be inspected by anyone, is regularly audited by third-party experts. It's so easy to switch to Bitwarden. It only takes minutes. They support importing from almost all password management solutions. So if you want to move, it's easy to do. I did, and I am so glad I did. I've been using Bitwarden for years now. And one more thing I'll tell you. You can get started with Bitwarden's free trial of a Teams or Enterprise plan right now. If you're an individual, because Bitwarden's open source, it's free forever. Unlimited passwords, passkeys, hardware key support forever. You can even host your own vault if you really don't trust anyone. Bitwarden is the way to go for individuals and for business. Bitwarden.com/twit. It's what I use. It's what our security guy, Steve Gibson, uses and recommends. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank Bitwarden so much for supporting This Week in Google. And we thank you for supporting us by going to that address, bitwarden.com/twit. Jammer B says we should call this show You Can't Have Burrows Without Bows. I like it.
It's good.
So the WordPress kerfuffle, I'll give you some background because I know Matt Mullenweg pretty well. I used WordPress in the earliest days, almost 20 years ago, when it first came out as a blog, content management system that Matt had written. He wrote it. And eventually, and continues to give it away at WordPress.org. It's still open source, still free to use. Eventually, he started a company around it called Automatic. And they run a website called WordPress.com, not .org, but .com, where you can have hosted WordPress blogs. You don't have to maintain them. They'll run them for you. It's managed WordPress, and it's a great thing. But they're not the only ones that do this. There are a lot of hosting companies that offer WordPress, often with a one-button install. There's a company called WP Engine that also offers managed WordPress hosting. Now, WordPress is phenomenally successful. When they were an advertiser, we said they have 1/3 of the web runs on WordPress. It's now more than 40% of the web runs on WordPress.
How much? Have you ever seen a number for how much of that 40% is run by WordPress.com versus other WordPress?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to say the majority is by the free open source version. And a lot of it not. So, for instance, when I first started using WordPress, I didn't install it on my own server. I went to a company that does hosting. They had a one-button install of WordPress from WordPress.org. So, in effect, they were running my WordPress instance.
We used to teach all of our journalism students to put up a WordPress instance.
Yeah, but running it on somebody else's server, right? Not on their own server.
Well, they're on the server. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what Automatic does, but it's also what a company called WP Engine does. It all started in mid-September. Matt wrote a blog post calling WP Engine a cancer to WordPress. And the issue, this is an issue, in fact, Dres Buitart, who wrote Drupal, which is what we use for our website, another content management system, has written a blog post about this. This is the taker, the what do you call it? Taker versus taken. It's the issue in open source in general, where people put it out there and people use it. They take, but they don't give back, right?
Right.
And that's what Matt was a little bit mad about with WordPress, with WP Engine. He criticized them for disabling the users, for instance, to see and track revision history for posts, which he says is very important. WP Engine turns it off by default to save money, he said. They are, by the way, WP Engine's investor is Silver Lake, one of our favorite private equity firms. He said they don't contribute sufficiently to the open source project. And the fact that they call themselves WP Engine confuses people into thinking it's part of the official WordPress. WP Engine sent him a cease and desist letter. He sent a cease and desist letter back saying they'd breached WordPress and WooCommerce trademark usage rules.
WP Engine also claimed that Matt had said he would take a, quote, scorched earth nuclear approach, end quote, against WP Engine unless it agreed to pay, quote, a significant percentage of its revenues for a license to the WordPress trademark.
That's
end
the
quote.
hard part. 8%.
Well,
yeah.
And he did, because it is a scorched earth. He has blocked them from accessing WordPress.org, which is where the source code comes from.
Some sites were affected.
And this broke a bunch of websites and prevented them from updating plugins and themes. It also left some of them open to security attacks. And most of all, the highlight of all of this is that people in the open source community were really pissed. They felt that this was an affront to the ideals of open source.
And one person being in charge of it all.
Yeah.
It got worse because then Automatic forked a plugin from WP Engine and started offering it themselves. They took control of the Advanced Custom Fields plugin This happened last week, which WordPress developers used to add customized fields on their edit screen. That was maintained by WP Engine. So they lost control over it, and they couldn't update the plugin. WordPress said, hey, it's ours.
Yeah. They said this is a rare and unusual situation brought on by WP Engine's legal attacks.
You know, we've had Matt on the show, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, and preaching the gospel of open source, and we hug him and love him for that. And so there's something here I just don't understand. I can't figure out. I don't know what's really happening. I'm confused.
Another aspect of this that caught my attention, which is a bit of like petty tech infighting, but I do think illustrates a bit more the tenor of what's going on, is DHH, David Heinemeier Hansen.
Who is a notorious troll, but go ahead.
Yeah, a notorious troll.
Creator of Ruby on Rails, so he's very respected.
He wrote a blog post.
Wait, is he a troll or is he respected?
He's respected and a troll.
Both. He's respected and he's also a bit of a troll. I don't
respect trolls, though.
Nah, I wouldn't say he's like
he has
the
domain respect.
Yeah. He has earned respect despite sometimes his actions being trolling.
He founded 37 Signals with Jason Fried. It's now called Basecamp.
Yeah.
He wrote Ruby on Rails, which was the dominant web technology for many years. But he's also, he's problematic in other ways. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So he writes a blog post being like, it's called Automatic is Doing Open Source Dirty. Basically saying Automatic demanding 8% of WP Engine's revenues because they're not giving back enough to WordPress is a wanton violation of general open source ideals and the specifics of the license. It kind of goes into here and basically says, speaks to his experience with open source, stuff like that, saying...
I agree with him, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong. Matt
he says, I suspect Automatic wants to have their cake and eat it too. And then Matt freaks out and writes what he calls a respectful response, but is a very mean blog post in response that he later ends up changing and I think today deleted.
Yeah, I think Matt's having some issues. He did he did offer a buyout to employees of Automatic who didn't agree with him. 159 employees took it. They got 6 months severance or $30,000, whichever was higher.
That's what we talked about last week, and we read the post of someone who decided to stay.
Jeffrey Zeldman decided to stay. I have also heard through the grapevine that Matt gave a fairly substantial percentage of Automatic to the employees who remained. Cool. So he gave stock options to the employees who remained, saying, thank you for staying, and now you have a stake in this company. This is what's so hard. I respect DHH, for instance, for his contribution, huge contribution, as I respect Matt. I think Matt, I've avoided weighing in on this because I don't know.
I'm not seeing here. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is interesting or notable is about the DHH situation is Matt's response blog post, which kind of gets at, or at least to me, perhaps explains a bit more of his thinking on this. He basically, what he does in this blog post, Matt attacks DHH's credibility. He says, DHH claims to be an expert in open source, but his toxic personality and inability to scale teams means that although he has invented about $500 billion worth of good ideas, most of the value has been captured by others. And so he goes through DHH's portfolio and basically says, like, Ruby on Rails has, done a lot of stuff, but because it's open source, that value has been captured by other companies, not DHH. And he ends it by saying, David, perhaps it would be good to explore this with a therapist or coach why you keep having these great ideas but cannot scale them beyond a handful of niche customers. I will give full credit and respect. 37 Signals inspired ton of what Automatic does. We're now $500 million in revenue. Why are you still so small?
That's a little bit of a measuring contest. I don't think that's appropriate at all.
No.
But
and again,
But I think that it kind of goes to, which is something that I've seen people in the open source community complaining about in this particular issue, is that it seems like Matt's approach here is more focused on
why didn't you make more
maximizing
money?
the revenue captured by this open source product than the standard ideals of open source, which, like that thing you mentioned earlier that I'm forgetting the name of too. It's this kind of constant debate in open source about whether you should hoard it all for yourself and then maximize revenue, or create a product that's truly open source. And that means you're going to lose out on some of those precious dollars.
Sorry, it's what drove his success versus, again, I mentioned this last week, movable type and 6 apart. When they got hinky about people using their platform to build their own hosting situations, they limited the licensing requirements on or abilities on their software. That's what made them shrink. That's what made them die and WordPress to succeed. So it's the essence of what made WordPress was in fact being open source. The one thing I think that he makes a good point about is that if WP Engine benefits hugely and doesn't contribute back, that too is a violation of
that's what Dries says. Dries is the creator of Drupal. That's the product that we use to run our websites. He writes he says it's the maker-taker problem.
Which is the Trenton problem.
It is, or the tragedy of the commons in some respects.
The bridge in Trenton says Trenton makes, the world takes.
Well, that is the Trenton problem, and it sounds like they have some problems, and maybe should seek therapy.
They do. Yes.
The imbalance, Dries writes, between major contributors and those who contribute minimally, and how this harms open source communities. And he says the lack of an environment that supports the fair coexistence of open source businesses. So these are really kind of thorny issues in the open source community. Matt Mullenweg says, look, we've been trying to negotiate a trademark deal with WP Engine for a long time, and they've just been stringing us along.
But who knew that was that? But let's stay there for a second.
The two parties
knew that was
did.
A requirement, that you had to have the license to put the WP on. Was that always a requirement? In which case,
no.
Matt has a point. Or is it a new thing?
It's a trademark issue, though, if there's confusion. And I can understand he's saying, look, by calling themselves WP Engine, they're confusing people over who is responsible for this. It's not WordPress.
But how long ago did they start calling themselves that? And this is was there a rule in the books?
There isn't a rule, but if I started calling myself Professor Jeff Jarvis on Twitter,
somebody did that. Yeah, I know. And somebody did that, and I hate the son of a bitch and can't stand him, and he's not funny, and don't ever look at him. Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think
sorry. I was going to say, I think it's like, it would be slightly different. It's like if someone's calling themselves Professor JJ, it's a little different. Like, I mean.
Well, that's true.
WP, though.
We had problems with Twitter, remember, because they call themselves Twitter after Twit existed. And we were having real confusion that people thought that we stole our name from Twitter or that we were copying Twitter. And to this day, if you type Twit in autocomplete almost anywhere, it fills in Twitter. But we worked it out to our mutual satisfaction. That's all I'm allowed to say. But I understand, there is that kind of confusion is problematic. And it is something open source has to solve, because right now there are a lot of big, wealthy companies relying on, taking from open source, often individuals, just simply somebody who wrote something, and not giving back.
What was the relationship of Red Hat to Linux? Was that a good model, a bad model? I mean, what are some other companies that made a lot of money on top of open source, and how did they manage those relationships?
By the way, Red Hat's owned by IBM now.
Yeah.
There's a good relationship there because, first of all, Linux isn't just the Linux kernel.
Right.
It's everything you put on top of it, including all the applications, the installer, and all of that. And that's what Red Hat did. And other Linux distros do. And I don't think Linus has any problem with that. Linus retained the trademark to Linux, however. So you can't call it Linux unless it's using his kernel as approved by him. So it's
a similar one person in charge.
I don't think it's, yeah. There might be more apt comparisons, because Linux is more than just the Linux kernel. In fact, if you ask Richard Stallman, he'll say it's not Linux, it's GNU Linux, and it's just the Linux kernel with a bunch of GNU software on top of it, and you shouldn't call it Linux. So open source has always been a very prickly.
And for a reason,
for
because they're
instance-
protecting something.
Yeah, and people are giving the reason people do open source. The reason Matt wrote WordPress, he didn't write WordPress to get rich. I don't think. I think he wrote WordPress because he was a coder. He was excited by the challenge, the problem. He loved writing it. He wrote it for himself initially, and he wanted to give something to the community. But I think where he gets upset, and I don't blame him, is when you give a gift and then they say, give me more, give me more, give me more, and they never reciprocate. It's like if I took you guys out to dinner 100 times and you never offered to pay once. That's the analogy
lunch
Matt uses.
last time we saw him. He did take me out to dinner 100 times. And finally, I said no enough. The last time we went out, you had to pay for 10 people. At least I could take you out to lunch.
But the whole point is whether you did or not is that we fight back.
I don't own a home.
You never have to pay, Paris. No, but that's the point, is that you try, whether you succeed or not, out of goodwill, that you try to give back.
I think on Matt, so I think I've told the story before, when he came up with the idea and the model for WordPress.com atop WordPress.org, Polaris, Mike Hirschland, the venture capitalist, called me and said, this guy wants us to invest in him, and it's a really weird model. What do you think? And I said, I believe in WordPress. I believe it's a winner. I believe it's a really smart model. But the point of it was that Matt would open something up that others could use, but WordPress, they would benefit by having WordPress, but he would benefit by having their contributions to WordPress. And so that two-way street is critical to the model, I think, being honorable. Who do you side with here, Paris? I don't think I've quite sensed it.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a complicated battle.
Yep. I want to side.
I mean, I think Molly White, our friend of the pod, tweeted a mocked up version of that Onion headline that typically says, like, oh, worst person you know just made a good point, and said, oh, the worst people you know are fighting. And I mean, obviously Matt isn't the worst person we know, but I think that tweet captures the sentiment, I feel, a bit, and just the sense that it seems like a bloodbath and a mess, and I'm just sad for everybody involved.
Yes. Well said. Well said. You should be in politics.
No, I shouldn't. I have too much respect for myself and my fellow men.
By the way, it's interesting because David Hannemeyer Hansen at 37 Signals did the same exact thing when the folks at 37 Signals said no longer can you discuss politics at work. They offered a 6-month buyout to any employee who didn't like it.
How many took it? Do you know? But it's so small. What did it matter?
I don't know. I don't know how many took it. But people did at the time think it might kill 37 Signals. It did not.
They've got so many signals.
Yeah, they're now down to 35.
I'm reading Manton Reese's piece on this. I have a huge respect for Manton Reese. He wrote Microblog. He's a very smart, active guy in the open source community that I highly respect. He says, I think trademark law may be on Matt's side. The private texts from Matt to WP Engine look quite damning, though. I also wonder how the case will be influenced by automatic letting most companies freely use the WordPress mark with few restrictions for years. I do believe in trademark law. If you don't defend a trademark,
good
you
point.
lose it, right?
Yeah, very good point. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
If automatic wins, Manton writes, or they can settle the lawsuit, the community will recover. Calls for Matt to resign are unwarranted. WordPress exists at its current level of success in large part because of him. Agreed. His vision also provided a good home for Tumblr and Day One. By the way, 2 companies he's purchased. I'm not going to toss all that aside because he picked a fight with a private equity firm, Silver Lake, that charges a lot for hosting.
Good point.
His Manton's final thoughts. Get out the popcorn as we watch this drama unfold, but let's also remember there are real people here trying to do what they think is right. Matt has been blogging more than ever. He's been sitting for interviews. While I'm sure the lawyers discourage it, I'd like to see the same human face on the WP Engine side. I don't think we've had that since Jason Cohen, the founder, handed his company over.
I think the winning point here is when is private equity an empathetic character?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you said to me, choose between Matt Mullenweg and Silver Lake, there's no question.
Easy.
I totally agree, but I do think that, and I think that's what has made this such kind of a thorny issue, is that private equity is a classic goon that no one wants to be around. But the way that Matt has been handling this has not been good. I mean, I remember, like, within the last week, one aspect of what happened with this is, I believe now, in order to log into WordPress or something along those lines, you have to check a box that says you're not affiliated with WP Engine.
Yeah, and they don't want them to download it
Some
anymore.
like fairly well-known female creator in the open source and WordPress community posted about this, being like, well, I guess I can't log in to WordPress anymore.
Wow. And
Matt, or I assume someone affiliated with him, the WordPress Twitter account replied to her and said, "Who are you?" And I'm just like, there are just like little things like that I'm just like, you don't need to be trying to get people against your side like that.
Yeah.
So I think we should table this.
He needs a PR person.
Yeah, he does.
I think we should table this because honestly, first of all, it's not going to affect anybody who's listening to the show. It doesn't affect us. It really doesn't. It's not a big deal. We don't know the ins and outs of it. It's just it's an interesting drama, but I don't think it edifies in any way. And
it's nothing like the Lizzie Newsy drama, but we won't go there.
We will not.
Lizzie Newsy? What are you talking about?
Newsy Lizza.
Lizzo?
No.
He's talking about Olivia Nuzzi and Ryan Lizza, a media drama that we will not get into right now.
I do not want to get into the Olivia Nuzzi story.
Oh, is it getting juicy? Oh,
is it?
Boy. Oh,
okay. Now I maybe do want to get into it.
There's now dueling court documents.
Oh, yeah. So here's something people should care about.
Can't wait.
That matters to a lot of people, and that's the Internet Archive.
Yes.
Which got badly hacked.
Yes.
It's not clear, but it seems to be. Well, see, I don't even want to attribute it to this to a pro-Palestinian group, because it could be an anti-Palestinian group who are pretending to be a pro-Palestinian group to besmirch their reputation. So we don't really know yet how it happened, but somebody took one of the most important internet.
Yes. I use it for research every damn day.
Well, here Steve Gibson had quite a story. There's a new standard out there called BIMI for authenticating email that will let companies put their trademark logo on the email. So when you get it, it's authenticated that it came from that company. It's a pretty good idea. And he's applied for it. But the way his CA, his certificate authority, validates his trademark, DigiCert, is by going to the Internet Archive to look up past uses of his trademark. They can't. He can't get validated because the Internet Archive is unreliable. It's not down. It's running in a read-only mode, but it's bad.
But importantly, the Wayback Machine is up and read-only, but the huge archive of historical documents is not up still.
And you can't post to it.
Safe.
It's a provisional. Yeah. So this is.
And also all login information was hacked.
Right. I don't mind that, by the way. I support them. I give them money every month, and I think it's I think everybody.
No, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
I mean, I support them. It's just an
Absolute good
unfortunate situation for people who had information there.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the good news. Everybody already knows your information because of the National Public Data Breach, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, what information do you actually have there?
Yeah, I mean,
Unless you
I don't
for
think
old
even
issues
when
of Playboy, but
I don't think my contributions to the Internet Archive go through their own I think they go through PayPal. So even then, I don't think that they got anything. But it doesn't matter. Brewster Kahle, the guy who founded it, is a true hero.
yes,
This Internet Archive is a very important feature of the internet landscape. The Wayback Machine alone provides people access to historic documents from the internet. Who would hack it? somebody.
Why is it still? What do you know any more about why it's still down?
No.
Or what they're trying to?
And maybe we get
cure?
Brewster on. I wonder if they got hit by ransomware. And what would be the worst nightmare is that all of the data has been encrypted by a bad guy.
They said they're on the Twitter.
Said it was a DDoS.
I'm trying to get to it right now. Now it's not down. Now I can't get to it.
I just got to it. Here's the page that I'm looking at right now.
Mark
if you go to the Twitter
Graham
feed,
said an hour ago, wanted to share an update from Team Wayback Machine. The archives are safe and the Wayback Machine is in read-only mode. We hope to turn on more web crawling within a day to make sure our web collections remain whole. Next up, save page now. Thanks for the support.
916 billion pages. Our entire history is on there.
And it's not just the web history. Again, there are magazines from 1900. It's either HathiTrust or archive.org, where I can find these publications for research that you otherwise just couldn't get. And incredibly valuable beyond way before the web.
Hackers defaced the website with a message that said, "Have you ever felt like the Internet Archive runs on sticks and is constantly on the verge of suffering a catastrophic security breach? It just happened. See 31 million of you on Have I Been Pwned." Whatever jerk did that should be hung by the heels.
Why would you pick the Internet Archive as your enemy? There's plenty of others.
Yeah, even if it is vulnerable. I mean, it must be a 14-year-old. It's just appalling.
It's like robbing a library.
It's robbing a library, saying, "Oh, look, I just got these 12 books from the library. I'm going to keep them." What kind of jerk does that? So,
there's a whole political party that's taking books out of the library, but we won't go into that right now.
Yeah, that's
Brewster said that their data hasn't been corrupted anywhere, and services are only stopped because they're upgrading internal systems. So
that's a relief.
That's at least a silver lining.
Take this as an opportunity to donate. I have support them. This is so important. So that's a story to me that makes a big difference in the world, and we got to pay attention.
Yes, I'm glad you did. I was going to ask you to, but you were ahead of me as usual.
But ahead of you. I have more to talk about in just a bit. But first, a word from our sponsors. How about that? Huh? How do you like them apples? This episode. Do people ever say that anymore? How do you like them apples?
No one's worrying about the apples. I do think that's quite sad. We should check in on
Only quoting Good Will Hunting will they say that.
Is it Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
No, there's no way that phrase came from Good Will Hunting.
No,
way predates.
That's the only way people quote it now is quoting Good Will Hunting.
Paris cares about the apple trees in her official role, but that's another matter.
Paris, will you do some research while I do this ad on where
I am literally already doing it.
I could tell. I saw that in your eyes. Our show today brought to you by a great company. I talked to these guys last week, and I was blown away, frankly. US Cloud, the #1 Microsoft Unified Support replacement. Here's the deal. The way Microsoft offers support, you buy a license to a product, and you have a number of hours of support built into it, which means you pay for support you may never use. The pay-as-you-go model is much better. Microsoft does not offer that. US Cloud offers that. It's the global leader in third-party Microsoft Enterprise support. 50 of the Fortune 500 use US Cloud. And they've learned switching to US Cloud can save your business 30 to 50% on a true comparable replacement for Microsoft Unified Support. US Cloud supports the entire Microsoft stack. They're there 24/7, 365 days a year. They respond faster than Microsoft. They resolve tickets quicker for clients all around the world. And you're always going to talk to real humans. And I mean expert humans. Their expert level engineers have an average of 14.9 years experience, and that's for break fix or DSE. They are very finicky. They pick the best engineers. So when you are talking to somebody at US Cloud, you're talking to somebody who's going to fix your problem. You're talking to the kind of person you really want to talk to. When trouble hits, you go, help me. They're there and they know it. Their teams are 100% US based, so your data never leaves the US. And here's something Microsoft has never done. US Cloud offers financially backed SLAs on response time. You might wait a long time for answers from Microsoft. Initial ticket response from U.S. Cloud average is just under 4 minutes. In 2023, last year, 94% of U.S. Cloud's clients reported saving 1/3 or more when switching from Microsoft Unified Support to U.S. Cloud. This is an easy sell because it's the best support and it costs less. From Fortune 500 companies, large health systems, major financial institutions, to federal agencies, U.S. Cloud ensures that vital Microsoft systems are working for over 6 million users globally every single day. The big brands trust U.S. Cloud. I'm talking like Caterpillar, HP, right? HP, Aflac, Dun & Bradstreet, Under Armour, KeyBank, even the IT folks at Gartner have chosen U.S. Cloud for their Microsoft support needs. Let me quote this. This is a great quote I heard in an interview. A director of information technologies. He said, quote, "And within an hour, U.S. Cloud responded with, I want to say, 4 engineers. So not only did they bring the right guys to the call, they brought the cavalry. I felt like, wow, that was amazing. That was unlike anything I had experienced with Microsoft in my 8 years of being with Premier. We made the right choice. You make the right choice. U.S. Cloud." And by the way, when it comes to compliance, no one gets it more than U.S. Cloud. Their ISO, GDPR, ESG compliance, strategic imperatives that drive operational efficiency, legal compliance, risk management, and corporate reputation. These standards foster trust and loyalty among customers and stakeholders. They attract investment. This is good and ensure long-term sustainability and success in a competitive global market. This is a great company to do business with. It's going to save you money, and you're going to get the best support you've ever had. Visit uscloud.com, uscloud.com. Book a call today. Find out how much your team can save. That's uscloud.com. Book a call. Get faster Microsoft support for less from the best. US Cloud. Thank them so much for supporting us. We're the best. And you support us when you go to that address too. uscloud.com. Paris, did you find the source of that old-timey quote?
Kind of.
How do you like them apples? Is it horse apples?
No, the initial answer to this question you get when you search from it is that it came from the toffee apple bomb, also known as the 2-inch howitzer or plum pudding, which was invented by British forces during World War I to counter similar German trench mortars. And it acquired the nickname toffee apple because of its small circular barrel mounted on a stick-like catapult system and painted yellow.
So a Tommy in the trenches would fire that and say, "How do you like them apples?"
Pretty much.
To the German.
Yes. People also say, trace it back to the 1959 movie Rio Bravo, where it said in that case. However, I wasn't able to find any official stuff bringing this back to World War II. So I looked on the Google Books Ngram viewer, and it has, it has like, it says that there have been mentions of the phrase, "How do you like them apples?" dating back to 1900 and 1897, although I can't figure out what specific books they're saying. So the World War I thing might be a myth, but I can't disprove it currently.
Well, there were wars before that.
Yes. Did they use that specific bomb?
No.
But did they have Tommy apples or whatever? Toffee apples? This I don't know. Is that just me? I think you like this too, don't you? Like where did that come from? Why do people say that?
I'm always asking that question.
Why do they say dial the phone? I don't understand. There's no dial on a phone. Why would they say dial? No one says that?
No, I mean there was dial on the phone.
Oh, there was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know there was.
Might have been before your time, Leanne.
It was before my time.
So the newspaper results.
Oh yes, please.
I'm trying to go there. No, I can't.
I think we're done with apples.
Done enough. Okay, fine. Yeah. I was trying to add in.
I'm moving
Listen, if we had the Internet Archive, we could look back.
That's true. There you go. Great paper. I bet you discussed this on your Inside AI show earlier today. Great paper from Apple.
Yes.
How do you like them apples?
From Apple. 6 AI researchers at Apple. This is Gary Marcus's take on it, but actually, it's worth reading the white paper itself.
And the thread about it, which I have in the rundown below, is really very clear.
Okay.
So
this is the author, one of the 6 authors. He's a research scientist at Apple. Was at DeepMind, comes from Georgia Tech. Mehrdad Faratabar. Can large language models truly reason, or are they just sophisticated pattern matchers? Well, they did some interesting research. They actually gave a number of LLMs some word problems that any human would probably solve quite handily, and showed how easily confused
pretty well. But
well, they were able to easily confuse the LLMs with extraneous information.
Or actually, I wouldn't say quite extraneous. It was for a simple change.
Yeah.
If you said when Sophie watches her nephew, and they just said when bracket name watches her bracket family, and then change that variable, that alone was enough to confuse it.
Let me give you an example. By the way, this is what Mehrdad wrote. To sum up, we found no evidence of formal reasoning. We found no evidence of formal reasoning in language models. Their behavior is better explained by sophisticated pattern matching, so fragile, in fact, that changing names can alter results by 10%. Let me give you a problem. I will give you the problem, and then I will show you how the AIs handled it.
Good.
This is from Gary Marcus's paper. Oliver picks 44 Kiwis on Friday. Got that? 44 on Friday. Then on Saturday, 58. So 44, 58. On Sunday, he picks double the number of Kiwis he did on Friday. But
88.
88, very good. But wait, 5 of them were a bit smaller than average. How many Kiwis does Oliver have? Now, you would normally say, well, 44 plus 58 plus 88.
Mm-hmm.
But that little phrase, but 5 of them were a bit smaller than average, confused both O1 Mini, which is it's reasoning, thinking that the smaller ones subtracted 5 from the total, giving a result of 185 instead of 190. Llama 3.8b, this is Meta's open model, same thing, came up with 185. The confusion with this extraneous, clause, but 5 of them were a bit smaller than average, is apparently happens again and again. This is a one about the Super Bowl.
It just sees but and then assumes the rest of the sentence.
It's doing pattern matching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning became the first quarterback. Here's one for you football fans. Peyton Manning became the first quarterback ever to lead 2 different teams to multiple Super Bowls. He's also the oldest quarterback ever to play in a Super Bowl at age 39. Past record was held by John Elway, who led the Broncos to victory in Super Bowl 33 at age 38. Currently Denver's executive vice president of football operations and general manager. Quarterback Jeff Dean had jersey number 37 in Champ Bowl, which is nothing, by the way, 34. The question after that is, what is the name of the quarterback who was 38 in Super Bowl 33? Well, it's John Elway, obviously, but for some reason, the AI said, oh yeah, that's Jeff Dean. Which makes no sense to a human, but it shows that they're easily distracted.
I want to rub this paper in all of those guys who got the splashy magazine profiles of being like, the AI is real and loves
right around the corner.
It's
you
real
saw
and
Jan LeCun's article, the article about Jan LeCun in the Wall Street Journal last weekend, where he said this. It's just BS. These things aren't going to be dangerous.
They're not as smart as a cat.
They're not as smart as your
Gizmo's
pets.
Smarter. Gizmo knows the champion of every Super Bowl.
Gizmo would know John Elway, right?
Yeah.
No, he
she's
might
right
say
now
John
trying
Elway.
to break down my door.
You can let Gizmo in if you want. Gary Marcus, who says, I've been saying this for years. Gary Marcus says.
Yeah.
There's no way you
says,
could build reliable agents on this foundation.
Right.
Where changing a word or two in irrelevant ways or adding a few bits of irrelevant info can give you a different answer.
The fragility of supposed LLM reasoning, says Mehrdad, LLMs remain sensitive to changes in proper names like people, food, or objects, and even more so when numbers are altered. Would a grade school student's math test score vary by 10% if we only changed the names? No. So it's really, really, really good at mimicking and pattern recognition, but it's not reasoning. AGI is not effing around the corner. Your investment is not worth it at that level. It still does neat things, but they're overselling the hell out of it.
Well, I would. Here's what. Go ahead, play Moral Panic. I heard it. I
don't
heard
think
that.
I was Moral Panic. I don't think that was, but go ahead and play it. Oh,
Well, Benito gets to make the judgment call. Is this Moral Panic?
I got a bad feeling about this.
See, now every time I hope it's a different one.
I do too now. Yes, 'cause
Apparently, there's a variety of those.
there are, yes. Yes, but you can't see people, but we see Benito right now staring at a screen trying to find a different one.
I would defend AI. I think there's a lot of we've seen
Yes,
it over and over
I do
again.
too.
But you have to understand what it can and can't do. You shouldn't probably let your car drive itself home all the time without supervision. There's things that people are letting AI do they shouldn't. But Notebook LM's a good example. Both of you have said how useful that's been. The Google
Or at least
AI
fun.
RAG. Yeah, I mean, there's AI that's fun, and I think the emphasis on that has been a mistake from the AI people because.
So I was talking about this with Jason today. I think that the problem is, because he was asking, if you're Sam Altman, you're overselling like crazy and you are sure to disappoint in the future with any consumer, any business reporter, anybody else. However, in the present, when you're trying to raise bucket loads of money, you oversell like crazy. And he's been very good at overselling like crazy, and he's getting bucket loads of money.
$167 billion.
It's inevitably a profound disappointment. When, if it were sold rationally, we need these reality checks because that's what says what this is really and what the actual value is and what it can actually do. And it is pretty amazing, but the boys in their size matters crap are overselling the hell out of it, and they're hurting the field.
Well, yeah, when Sam says prosperity, universal prosperity is just around the corner because of AI. It's like, come on, Sam, really? That's a little much. Anyway, I am still bullish. I don't think the singularity is near, but I think there's a lot of useful things you can do with AI today. And I continue to use AI for a lot of
And there'll be more
things.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Did you see? Let me see if it's still there. The Google store yesterday.
Well, I wonder why you put that in the rundown. Is that to give me a
let's
hint
see.
that I think
Yes,
I'm
it
actually
still
going to
is.
buy
I like this.
buy a phone.
This is speaking of AI. McLaren racing drivers discover the magic of Gemini. So, Google bought some of the trade dress of the Formula One cars run by McLaren. The wheels have the rainbow, the Google rainbow on it. There's a Chrome logo on it. And at the beginning of the season, McLaren was doing terribly. And I thought, oh, that was a bad investment. Now they are the hottest thing in Formula One racing. And so on the front page of the Google store, you see Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri.
Do you know who they are anyway?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big F1
idea.
fan. Well, you're not. You're a tennis guy. I'm an F1 fan. Look, they don't even say their last names. Just say Lando and Oscar. Celebrate,
Norris, do you
collaborate.
have any idea who they are?
Not even a little bit.
I've met Lando in the past.
You've met Lando?
Oh, what
Yeah,
else?
I helped him set up his streaming setup when I worked at Twitch.
Leo is
So
Is
for
he short?
racing
He looks
or
short in
him
that
streaming
photo.
himself, because they do. All these guys do the Forza kind of racing.
And when like his home setup.
Nice.
wow.
So Lando is very cool and is suddenly maybe the top driver in
Which one is Lando?
the one on the left, the cute one. Actually, Oscar's pretty cute too. This is the great thing about F1 drivers. First of all, it's a death-defying profession. It's incredibly.
Are they all small like horse jockeys?
They're not that small, but they can't be too big. Obviously, they have to fit in the cockpit. But they also have to be, it turns out, not just great drivers. They're the best drivers in the world, but cute and presentable, because a lot of what they do is about public relations.
They're slaps and ads.
Yeah. What?
They're covered in ads.
Oh yeah, they are covered in ads. You're right.
Leo thought that was a sexual something that the
I
kids
thought
say.
you were saying something about their abs.
No. I don't even know what those
They're
people's
slapped in abs.
They have good
They're
abs.
slapped
Trust
in
me.
abs.
Trust me. Anyway, okay, fine.
So I'm about to buy a new phone. I was in Manhattan all day yesterday. By the time I got home, my battery was shot. So I got to do it.
Well, why wouldn't you get a Pixel and the new
I'm going to
Pixel?
do it. I'm going to do it.
I'm going to go over and get mine so I can tease you with it.
I recently got, months ago, I guess, got a new phone because I also had battery issues, Jeff. I mean, it's fine.
It happens.
It's a phone.
It happens. Yeah. I know.
Android
now
15
dies
just came out.
infrequently.
I don't know what the battery life is on this because I never take it off the dock, but I'm sure it's good.
Well, mine's great. I'm home all day, so I'm on Wi-Fi, so it doesn't. But when I spent a day on cell, it said, well, "What was that? Why'd you do that to me?" Plus, I was doing research, so I was taking tons of pictures of documents in rare book libraries.
I am very happy with the Pixel 9. I think it's great. It's not my daily driver because the iPhone is because I'm kind
you're
of
a snob.
Well, I'm kind of all in on Apple everywhere, unfortunately. Because it all, it's an ecosystem thing. It all works better together, right?
Yeah.
But the Pixel 9 is a great phone. I think it's a wonderful phone. I think you'll be very happy with it. And I think the battery life is good. And Android 15 just came out.
How much memory did you get in it?
I probably got 512. I usually get a lot because I'll tell you why. Nowadays, you take a lot of pictures and a lot of video, and the video can be very big. So mine's rebooting because I'm installing Android 15 on it right now. One of the features of Android 15, this should be a changelog.
This is a changelog. It's in the changelog. Yeah, we can do the changelog right now. Should we do it?
I won't. Huh?
We can do the changelog out of sequence. This could be surprise.
Let's do it. Let's be crazy.
Let's be crazy. Let's go crazy.
Let's go.
Log.
The Google change log.
Hey, Benito, a lot of warning.
Somebody in the chat is saying Leo should just take this show and chop it up into pieces.
Hey, that sounds cruel.
I don't know what he means by that, but okay.
Or do you want Paris to prune us?
Yes.
I'll be able to.
Yes, but make sure those cuts are at an angle so I don't lose all my sap. Are you reaching down to get your pruning shears?
I want to see this.
Maybe.
Let's see them.
Whoa.
Now, do you keep those clean?
I will be now that I'm taking a class.
Do you have to sterilize them? Don't you have to? Yeah.
I need to sterilize them.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
I'll probably honestly just use the alcohol wipes I use for my glasses.
That would be sufficient.
I want to see Paris Martineau branded shears.
They've got two settings. One is this one.
Big tree or big tree.
And this one's bigger tree.
That looks quite threatening right now in ways to make me uncomfortable.
And that's the Google changelog. You see how excited we are about the Google changelog? All right. Google adds new features for the Pixel along with the Android 15 rollout. 15 has some interesting features. One I thought is very interesting. This idea of a private space, which means you can hide the apps on your phone. You can lock them behind a separate.
What apps are like dirty apps? Are there dirty
Grindr?
apps?
Yeah,
Tinder?
sex apps.
I see. Oh, okay. I'm too old.
These days, when you buy a vibrator, every single vibrator has an app.
Who's that?
Really?
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Actually, speaking of vibrators, my
What's Go on.
I think this is a plague nowadays that everything requires an app. Lisa bought the Dyson curling iron.
Oh yeah, that does come with an app, but you don't need it. I also got duped by that. The Dyson Airwrap, phenomenal hair dryer, stupidly expensive, totally worth it. It does come with an app, and it's dumb. It just shows you videos of how to do your hair.
They've gotten better at it because the new one, which is the curling iron, the Straight, STRAIT, you can't. There's no manual. to watch the instructional video, you have to download the app and create an account. It requires an app. And I think she returned it. She said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And I think she was right to return it. Yeah. Anyway, so there's another thing you might want to hide, I guess. I don't know. There's also new theft protection features. Some of these things, the iPhone, for instance, has very good, they call it activation lock, theft protection. The Pixel 15 or Android 15 will require additional authentication if someone tries to take the SIM out or turn off Find My Device, which is, again, Apple already does this. After multiple failed tries to change sensitive settings, by guessing your password or PIN, the system will lock the device. Okay. You could turn that on, auto lock protection. And you can remote lock it. Again, this is more like parity with iOS. Android 15.
Somebody runs away with your phone thing, iOS already does?
Yes. Let me see.
It detects that someone has taken the phone away from you and is on the run.
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
That's there. That's the theft detection.
So
if somebody's comes along running and grabs away with your phone on a bike, it knows that, yeah.
And it locks. That's actually cool. So then it locks the phone. Oh, okay. Yeah, I take it back.
So
that is unique.
I was somewhere, I was in Virginia, and I was walking down the street, and somebody came up to me on a bike and said, "Did you see a phone?" And I said, "Well, I just came from there." No. "Oh, no, I'm going to be late for work." And he's on a bike, and he says, "Can I use yours to call my boss?"
Suspicious.
Oh, wow. Did you fall for that?
Well,
I would have thought and said, I'll enter
like a horrible person.
I'll say, I'll enter in the number on my phone and hold it up to you on speaker. What's your boss's number?
I should have done the speaker. Instead, I stood in front of the bike's wheels.
Oh, that's all right.
And then
Jeff is tall.
subtly,
everyone should
and then
know.
said, "Give me the number," and I put it in. But then I handed the phone to him.
And
how much of an idiot I was.
But it turned out it was a true story, and you weren't.
I have no idea it was true or not, but he gave me the phone back. So
did he talk to anybody?
Yeah, I could hear he was talking to somebody, but
he could have.
Hey, Paris, when I call, say, "How dare you, Jeff? This is the third time this month you've been late for work." No, that's not hard.
I like that feature.
That
so that's theft detection lock.
Yeah,
will lock the screen
right, because your fear is that somebody's going to get into everything. At least it's locked.
Yeah. This is in response to Joanna Stern's Wall Street Journal article, which says that and Apple responded to this too, which was that people were shoulder surfing as you unlocked your phone and then would steal your phone, and now they have the PIN. Well, that wouldn't fix that,
my question though is, I know Apple, for instance, has kind of a product like this with AirPods, where it's supposed to alert me when I've forgotten my AirPods somewhere.
That's the
and it is never once in my life been correct. It will send me that alert, and my AirPods will always be on my person, but just like losing battery. The few times that I've actually lost my AirPods, it has not helped.
That's disappointing.
So I'm curious if Android will experience the same problems with this.
So I have, if I might, an amazing personal story that's related.
Great.
So today
this better be amazing.
It's the place
I was on my call. I was on a call with my buds, not pods. And I went into the New York Public Library. I forgot that I had them on. I put my mask on. I went upstairs to do my business and doing research. I spent a good hour there taking photos of documents.
I do my business at the library too. That's funny.
As I leave, I realized that I had one in, and I didn't have the other one in. So I said, "I've lost it somewhere in the New York Public Library. It is lost forever. It is lost forever." I get on the elevator. I go back to the ground floor, and it's sitting right there in front of the elevator an hour later.
Wow.
I alcohol wiped it, and it works. I think that's an amazing story. In New York,
that's beautiful.
People didn't steal it. It's still mine.
And nobody wants a ground pod.
Yeah, really. Nobody looked at the floor, saw a lone AirPod, and took it? What amazing. Amazing.
Only in New York, baby.
Only in New York, my friends.
See, it's
only in New York, baby.
Now I've lost my place.
We're in the Google change log.
I know.
You're Pixel Drop now, I think. Didn't you finish?
I got it on here.
Yeah.
The Pixel Drop. Oh, the Pixel Drop. Yes. They I like this. They give you new features. on your device every month, something new. You could talk to Gemini hands-free on your Pixel Buds. Don't have Pixel Buds, so.
I do, and I still have them.
Yes, both of them, which is good because you still have 2 ears. So you can say, hey, Google, let's talk and start a conversation if you're lonely. Gemini Live is now available for all Pixel.
What's on your mind today?
Oh, Jesus, it's talking back to me. Well, I was just showing off this nice feature about having a conversation with you. That's all. I guess it lost interest.
No response. Wow.
Let me try that again. Hey, Google, let's talk. Yeah, see, it doesn't.
Wow.
To get us started, what are you interested in talking about? Here are some ideas. Current events. Have you seen any interesting news stories lately? Hobbies. What do you like to do for fun? Creative ideas. Do you have any stories you'd like to tell or develop? Just chat. We can also just see where the conversation takes us. What do you think?
I think you're pretty cool. And now it's abandoned me once again.
It's shy.
So how do you like that voice, by the way? I like that new voice.
I love that it ends with we can just see where the conversation
Let's just
takes
see where
us.
it goes. And then I talk to it and it goes, yeah, I'm not interested.
Let's just have coffee and see where it goes.
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
The night is young.
Nowhere. I hate it that I just got ghosted by AI on my phone. I think that's
Ghosted
sad.
by Google.
Ghosted by Google, baby.
Oh,
You can
so
use
bad.
Gemini with your screenshots, too. You can, all you have to do is long press the power and ask Gemini to find the brand of sneakers I saved in screenshots. Oh, they showed this, I remember, with the release. That's cool. That's finally here. I like that. Screenshots are now kind of your database of stuff you want to keep track of. With Pixel phones, you can isolate sounds with Audio Magic Eraser. That'll
You can get rid of me.
Yeah, they've been
You
advertising
could have
this
a
one.
Jeff-free podcast.
Yeah.
Well, you got a baby crying in the background or gizmos, upset or whatever. Get amazing underwater images. You can now use any waterproof case.
Oh, I did. I figured. Yeah, I didn't see the part about the waterproof case. Okay.
Well,
don't
yeah,
put the-
that.
But you know why that's cool? Because honestly, these pictures, when you take them, aren't that great. And often there's a lot of scatter from light and stuff. So I guess it's doing something to process
My thought
those.
is that's not a real photo. Then that's just some AI BS.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Capture beautiful images with improvements to astrophotography in night mode. This is, remember, when Samsung used to replace the full moon with a picture of the full moon?
Well, not in New York because we have too much light pollution here. You never see that.
Jeff,
Night
did
sight
you
for
see
Instagram.
Did you see the aurora?
No,
the
did you?
No, I was having a hot pot with the skee ball team, but you could see it in New York despite
Priorities.
the air pollution.
Wow.
And I came out and I missed the northern lights.
Wow.
I was having hot pot with the skee ball team.
I hate friendship.
So you could see him in New York, really?
Yeah, the other
That's
week,
pretty cool.
they were visible in most of the U.S.
Down here.
And apparently they were visible in New York City despite the light pollution. I know quite a few people that got photos, but it was only like 20 minutes.
I heard that you could see it better on your photos than you could with your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because, it just looks like a glow to your eyes. You don't even know especially in a light polluted area like New York City, you don't even know you're seeing northern lights. You just think that's
It was a
glow.
good excuse for me and some friends to take a cab home instead of taking the subway because they were like, oh, maybe we could see it over the bridge. And then we didn't feel
Oh,
bad
did
about
you?
wasting money. No.
The thermometer app.
Wait. You thought it was going to be different over the bridge? Like
Well,
half
then
a mile away?
underground, yes.
Then on a street in Chinatown, yeah. I was like, there's a little bit less light pollution there.
No,
Could be. You can see more sky on the bridge.
that was a
I know
bad
that you
excuse.
hate bridges, Jeff, but one thing, when you're not cowering in fear, there is a lot of sky there.
So I in my personal stuff at the bottom, we have.
But we got to get through this change log, my guy.
In fact, the bridge was the roof of the bridge under the East River was in fact drilled through.
Oh, that's not good.
Here is the secret NYC account where they actually saw the northern lights above New York City and apparently rowed a boat.
Hey,
So-
boat, bridge.
It's all the same.
something-
Boat,
do it.
okay.
Yeah.
Boat, okay.
Thank you to Scooter X for providing that. He'll get in the changelog one way or the other. you can now measure temperatures in a more detailed way with the thermometer app on your Pixel 8 Pro. It lets you use your camera to target what you want to measure. What? So this is aimed at a bottle for a baby bottle, and what? Anyway,
thermal imaging, probably thermal imaging.
Yeah,
measure yourself, Leo.
Do you think I could do it with this?
Well, yeah.
No, I need the thermometer app. But why does it say Pixel 8, not Pixel 9? Is there no thermometer app?
Above, I would imagine. Maybe they took the thermometer out. Oh, that's maybe.
Well, no. They said, here we go. Ready? Okay. I had to say, I want body temperature. Okay. Good Lord, I have to approve a lot of stuff to do this. Step 1. Identify the sensor on the back. Okay, it's that one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. Next. Okay. Does it oh my God, I'm red.
It looked like me.
What's my temperature? Try portrait mode. No. Oh, this is very disappointing.
Is there a button on there where you can specify that you're doing a podcast and need it to perform?
Yes, I need you to work. Oh, I haven't finished the tutorial. The sensor needs access to bare skin. Remove any accessories that cover your forehead. Okay, take your hat off, obviously. Yeah. Put it by your temple. Hold the center of the camera bar near your forehead without touching. Okay. God, there's a lot of instructions. This is ridiculous.
You're still going to screw it up, I'll bet.
I bet I am. Tap the button to begin countdown clock.
Scan to temple.
You gotta scan to your temple. Flip it around.
No. This is just the movie showing you what to do. Okay, done.
Me and Jeff got so anxious.
Now I have to select my age range. Older than... wait a minute. 0 to 3 months, 3 to 36 months, or 3+ years. Okay, sensor is on back of phone. Okay, you ready? I have to scan my temple, right?
Bring center of camera bar closer to forehead.
Yeah, you're not. That's not your
It's
forehead.
not your forehead. Okay.
Bring
Up
closer.
a little bit.
Sensor out of range.
You're putting it near your eyebrow.
You're putting it in your temple.
And you keep moving it.
This is your temple. This is your forehead.
Okay.
Apply directly to forehead.
Bring center of camera bar closer to forehead.
There.
There you go.
Bring closer.
Closer.
I can't. I'm not supposed
No,
to.
that's your temple.
It said temple, didn't it?
No, it said forehead.
No, forehead.
Leo, forehead. Forehead.
Try again. Okay.
Temple.
Right here.
Forehead.
Right
Okay.
here.
Ready?
Forehead.
Okay.
Put it like
Bring
a
center
quarter of
camera
an
bar
inch.
closer
You're
to
welcome,
forehead.
Benito, for that card.
Scan to temple. Complete.
I'm 97.8.
Hey, and you're above 3 years old.
It says normal. Well, 98.6 is normal, but this is an external.
That's
I guess
a myth,
that's cool.
it turns out. Yes.
Oh, that's a myth?
I'm usually like, everybody's a little different. I'm usually like 97.
And now it saves
cold
it for
and nihilistic.
future.
It's true.
Anyway, that's a new feature.
Wholehearted.
Many people say this.
Beat seasonal allergies with the Pixel Weather app. It will now tell you what the AQI and humidity levels are. Doesn't really mean that you're going to beat it. It just means you'll know ahead of time.
You just know how miserable, why you're miserable.
Yeah. Discover more helpful widgets for Pixel. Finding the best widgets for your Pixel is easy. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I think that's a really ugly look, by the way. Do you think that's a good looking phone? No.
That's bad.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go on with the changelog here. Google Shopping is getting, by the way, this is from Yahoo News. Google Shopping is getting an AI upgrade as Alphabet looks to monetize investments.
So they're trying to get you more ways to sell you more things.
Right. Using AI.
Right.
Okay.
So the The Google thing, the Google post.
If you're here's an example. If you're shopping for a kettle for making matcha tea, and who isn't, the AI summaries box will tell you should look for kettles with a gooseneck spout for controlled pouring and precise temperature controls. Below that, you'll see a number of recommendations for products that include bits of information from those AI summaries. In the tea kettle example, Google Shopping highlighted things like gooseneck, temperature control, etc.
So if you search for coffee maker,
all right, well, let me try that.
I just get tons of.
Yeah.
You know what I always got.
Users shop more than 1 billion times per day using Google. So,
well, that's why the antitrust people went after him.
Wow. A billion
brag
times
about
a
that.
day.
You still got a shopping case in Europe, Google.
Google Shopping is getting a big transformation. I think this is the same story, but this one's from Google. Find exactly what you need, browse personalized options, get the lowest prices.
Yeah, I put that there so you can see both versions of it.
So, wow, that's interesting. I thought they didn't have Google Shopping anymore.
No, they did. They just were in trouble for it, and they're kind of trying to go on the down low with it.
Oh, so is this a Google search, or is this I'm not shopping through Google, right? This is a search, basically.
I think it's a search. I think it's telling you more.
So, hey, Google, show me running shoes.
I really hope it just pulls up a
pair of shoes running.
a JPEG of a running shoe.
Here are some of the best running shoes available. Best overall daily trainer, Brooks Ghost 15, Invalid URL removed. Softest daily trainer,
Invalid.
Triumph 21 Invalid URL removed. Best fit update, Nike Pegasus 40 Invalid URL removed. Best women specific daily trainer, Lululemon Blissfeel. 2 Invalid URL removed. Best value cushion.
Because invalids can't run, so they should be removed.
That was the worst. It's all invalid
How much shock
URLs.
absorption do you need? Support. Do you need stability or motion control?
Oh, he needs stability.
How important is
He
lightness
needs
to
stability.
you? Fit. Make sure the shoes fit.
What is going on?
Durability. How long do you want the shoes
is
to last?
helping?
Additional resources. The 14 best running shoes of 2024 Runner's World. 7 best road running shoes in 2024. Run repeat.
Thanks.
Don't repeat that, please. No.
That was completely worthless. And it didn't even show me pictures. It just said invalid removed. All right. Thanks, Google. And this is, by the way, a Pixel 9 Pro with the latest version of Android on it. What else should I search for? Hey, Google, search for pruning shears. Maybe get some new pruning shears for you.
I can't assist you with that, as I am only a language model. You can control smart home devices from Google Home app.
This is terrible.
Hey guys, AI is the future.
I'm not faking this. This happened. The latest Gboard lets you switch between Roboto and Google Sans fonts.
Now
Well, it's about time. The new Gboard beta update introduced the ability to change fonts, but you only have 2 choices, Google Sans or Roboto. Okay, well, that's thrilling. Google's Chrome browser starts disabling uBlock Origin. Okay, let's talk, Google. So,
Yes.
this is the, we talked about this a lot.
Thieves who use
Tomato smacking.
Google is moving to Manifest v3 and phasing out old Manifest v2 extensions, they say, for security. And you could make that case because those extensions had a lot of access to the pages you visited and so forth. Turns out exactly the kind of thing a ad blocker would want to see the pages you're visiting so it can block the ads. On Tuesday, the developer of uBlock Origin, Raymond Hill, tweeted a screenshot from one user showing the Chrome browser disabling uBlock Origin. This extension is no longer supported. Google recommends you remove them. Now, there is and Steve Gibson was talking about this yesterday. There is a setting, and it's complicated, that you can get yourself another 9 months or so of uBlock Origin. My suggestion, though, is stop using Chrome and send a strong message to Google by doing so that they made a mistake here. Yes?
I'll be doing that.
Yeah. Firefox supports uBlock Origin. As of now, some Chromium browsers based on the same code base continue to support Manifest v2 extensions, but that's only a matter of time. If you use Brave, which is Chromium based, they've built in their own ad blocker, so it gets around that. Arc, the browser I prefer from the browser company, says we may have to do the same. This is the Chrome Web Store, so you're on a Chromebook, Jeff. You don't use an ad blocker though, probably?
No, because I'm an honest and decent man who wants to support media and content like you, unlike you thieves.
Well, I should point out that the ad blocker can be turned off for a site that you want to support, but a lot of times the ads you're getting are big.
I do turn mine off.
Yeah,
for
I do
certain
too.
Sites.
And many sites have a little pop-up that says, "Would you like to disable your ad blocker? Here's how."
I use Ghostery.
Ghostery, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good plugin, but doesn't do everything uBlock Origin does. One of the things uBlock Origin does that we talked about yesterday on Security Now is it will turn off that very annoying pop-up that says, "Would you like to sign into this page using your Google account?"
Oh,
I hate that. Don't you hate that?
Actually, that's huge.
Yeah.
I
It will
hate
also
that.
turn off the, "Would you like to turn off cookies?" The stupid cookie banner. I never see that anymore. I never see the sign in with Google anymore. You want me to show you how to do that?
Also, the chatters, they're like, "Hi, would you like me to help you?" At the bottom.
All of that stuff. Those are that's in the annoyances
I'll
section.
be switching to Firefox and getting uBlock Origin.
Yeah. Here's uBlock Origin. You go to settings on the page, and you go to the annoyances. Whoops. The annoyances settings. They're right down here. That was annoying.
Every
wasn't
website
it?
should have that.
And the social widget settings. And if you turn on all of these annoyances, these block all the annoyances, all the social widgets. The only thing to be aware of is if you do this, and then, by the way, press update now to make sure it's applied. If you do this, often sites won't work right, and you'll have to disable uBlock Origin because they want a pop-up or something like that. Something to be aware of. I think ultimately what people will end up doing is using things like Next DNS, which I use, nextdns.io or Pi-hole or some sort of kind of network-wide ad blocking, because I think, maybe ad blockers' days are numbered. Don't block our ads. You can't. Google Messages, you can fast forward through them, though, so don't do that. Google Messages gets a new feature that makes it easier to keep private. This is not yet available, but it's one of those when they tear down, this is Android Police, they tear down the APK and they found new privacy settings for profiles, letting users control who sees their picture and name. Okay. Fine. So you don't by default see, if I'm messaging with you, will your name automatically and picture automatically get filled in on Google Messages? Do you know?
Jeff?
Me?
You're the resident Google boy.
No, if you're messaging
Google boy.
me, message me.
Okay, I'm gonna start a chat with Jeff Jarvis. I'm gonna say, yo. Oh well, I already have your picture and name. Did you give me that? See, on Apple it says, "Would you like to do that?" Oh, I shouldn't show your phone number, should I?
No, you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
It doesn't. That's the good news.
I don't have your picture and name, so you don't trust me, huh?
Oh, that's interesting.
That is my number.
Okay,
though,
wait,
isn't it, Leo?
Jeff, put your phone number in the chat of Zoom, and then I'll text you, and we'll see if it works.
No, it doesn't show your number. It just says your name.
She just tried to fish me, didn't she? She just tried to. I'm
And
too
that's
clever for her.
The Google change log.
I haven't lost.
You're watching This Week at
noggin.
Google. Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis, I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you for being here. TikTok executives know about the app's effect on teens, say the 13 states in the District of Columbia.
Hey,
now,
this is a perfect example of why every journalist or person ever looking at a court document where it's got redactions should just ambiently be trying to highlight the text and paste it in somewhere to see if it actually redacted. I did that on like 2 or 3 of these state lawsuits just as I was looking at them. Didn't happen to get the Kentucky one, but dang, those Kentucky reporters who that then joined the NPR team and got the redactions, hats off to you.
in one of the lawsuits filed by the Kentucky Attorney General's office, the redactions were faulty, writes NPR. This was revealed when Kentucky Public Radio copied and pasted, and apparently exactly the same thing you did, right, Paris?
Yes,
copied and pasted excerpts.
It's not frequent, but sometimes
it works. That means what? They redacted it with like a PDF tool or something.
Yeah.
That didn't really, all it did was put
it in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the text was still there behind it.
So by doing so, they got about 30 pages of documents that the Kentucky Attorney General thought they had redacted. These are the same documents I think all of the other states had. Kentucky Public Radio published excerpts of the redacted material, which prompted the state judge to seal the entire complaint because you weren't supposed to see it. However, NPR says, we reviewed all the portions of the suits that were redacted. It highlights TikTok executives speaking candidly about a host of dangers for children on TikTok, mostly summaries of internal studies and communications. They do show some remedial measures like time management tools, but they also showed they'd have a negligible reduction in screen time. Company went ahead and decided to release and tout the features anyway. I still think TikTok is the bee's knees, and you
I agree.
Quote me on that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, for adults.
My son would not.
I do think that, and I totally agree. But I do think it's notable some of the details revealed in these unredacted documents, such as TikTok's own research states that for child users, compulsive usage of TikTok correlates with a slew of negative mental health effects, like loss of analytical skills, memory formation, contextual thinking, conversational depth, empathy, and increased anxiety. In addition, the documents show that TikTok was aware that, quote, compulsive usage also interferes with essential personal responsibilities like sufficient sleep, work school responsibilities, and connecting with loved ones. And this is like their research on the effects of their own platform on child users, which make up the majority of TikTok's user base. I do think that's kind of notable.
The TikTok's response was this is cherry picked, this is sealed, and there's a reason it was sealed, and we this is an unfair use of this content without giving us a chance to defend ourselves. In the previously redacted portion of the suit, according to NPR, Kentucky authorities say under 35 minutes, an average user is likely to become addicted to the platform.
You see, come on.
What?
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous.
Okay. TikTok determined the precise amount of viewing it takes for someone to form a habit, according to the redacted documents, 260 videos.
So does every TV producer and every newspaper and every book author. They do the same thing.
But I mean, are those like people are those people exclusively targeting children?
Well, doesn't TikTok say you have to be 13
Sesame
or
Street
above?
does. It's pretty.
Yeah, but it has a significant amount of under 13 users, which these lawsuits, as well as the DOJ suit, also get at. Specifically, that TikTok doesn't really seem to, according to these suits, take the enforcement actions to actually get under 13-year-olds off the platform.
Let's follow that all the way through. How would they know that you're under 13?
One of the examples, I think it's in this NPR article, is if users have like I'm 10 in their bio.
Well, clearly, okay. That TikTok should say, oh, you can't be 10. But really, the only effective way to prevent young people from using it is age verification.
And we
know that
slippery
that's
slope
not
that is.
a acceptable solution, because it would be required for everyone using the app, and it would require basically a complete I mean, how am I going to verify my age? I'm going to send them a copy of my driver's license.
You're going to give it all to the Chinese. Let's not forget.
I agree with the concerns about age verification. I think they're completely valid, but I do also think there is some merit to the argument that the DOJ and attorneys general, as superfluous as they may be in some cases, I do think there's merit to the argument that they're advancing, that it seems like, based on certain evidence or things they found in discovery, that TikTok has had a pattern of telling its moderators, like, hey, maybe don't take action on accounts unless you're 1,000% sure overwhelmingly that they're over 13, even when internal signs point to accounts actually almost certainly being under 13. I think that there's a lot more that TikTok can be doing that it isn't, that is short of actual age verification with IDs. And that's kind of what these suits are about.
Yes, and that's what they would have to prove, right? The suits would have to prove. Another thing that they said is they thought things like the bold glamour filter harm kids because it causes young users to think that they're not beautiful. What do you think about that?
I mean,
Lisa, I should just say, my wife sometimes doesn't put makeup on in the morning and turns on the Zoom makeup filter. I don't think that these filters are inherently harmful.
No.
I totally agree with you, especially when we're talking about adults. But I'm sure that there is some argument to be made that, like, yeah, it's probably not great for kids, like, who have very impressionable young minds, who are, 10 years old.
Why didn't we ban
17 magazine? Was that?
Yeah, why didn't we
years,
ban
for
teen
generations?
magazines?
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing.
I don't think that beauty filters are the core part of this suit. I think that, frankly, in these sort of cases, plaintiffs try to put as much as they can in the lawsuit, in the original complaint, and then knowing that that's going to get whittled down by the time it gets to an actual jury trial or judgment. And so they're kind of throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. One example of a thing that I think is worth talking about is this is from the NPR article. TikTok acknowledges internally that it has substantial leakage rates of violating content that's not removed. Specifically, so they're talking about how TikTok's own internal reports have flagged that their content moderation policies and practices are woefully deficient. This is again from the article. Those leakage rates include 35% of normalization of pedophilia, 33% of minor sexual solicitation, 39% of minor physical abuse, 30% of leading minors off platforms, 50% of glorification of minor sexual assaults, and 100% of fetishizing minors. I mean, I do
Have
think
you
that's
seen
kind
any of that
compelling.
content on TikTok?
I mean, I don't think that my specific experience speaks to, I don't think that any of our specific experience would speak to a general, anything general about TikTok. That's the unique thing about its platform, is that everyone's experience is completely different.
Yeah, I think they have to prove this in court. I agree that if, for instance, TikTok's, as the Kentucky investigators asserted, TikTok's algorithms are intentionally show fewer not attractive subjects in the For You feed. But I have to say, I see plenty of unattractive people in my For You feed, including Donald Trump. I don't see them filtering that out, but maybe they are. And if they are, that would be absolutely bad for young people who might think that, oh gosh, look at all these attractive people. I need to look more like that. I would
Again,
understand that.
every magazine that's been aimed at teenagers for years did that. My wife went into Sephora to pick up something on the mall on Sunday. She said, never go there on a Sunday. Never. It's crowded with teenagers trying to look different.
Is there something different, though, about it being TikTok and being kind of compelling? I mean, I'll tell you one of the things I think.
Get ready.
It's time for.
I'll tell you what's different about it. It's moral panic.
No! No, 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 no.
There's a good one.
Thank you.
Do you think, though?
No, I do think that we've had these sort of issues with the other big social media platforms where people have been outraged about content moderation problems, and Facebook, Twitter, all these other platforms have had to capitulate and step up their moderation game. TikTok hasn't. I don't think that it should be insulated from those same pressures.
No, I agree with you 100%. I also think that these look at one thing that's obvious. People's attention span's gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And the more you consume these short videos, these 8-second videos, or the more you flip, the less tolerant you are of long movies, for instance, or longer books. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing.
That's a content person thinking, is that people, that there was some natural length of things that everyone should want. How many books have you read that are pumped out ridiculously? How many movies have you seen that could have been a half hour shorter?
Sure. Absolutely. Right? I just, it definitely affects your brain. It changes how you think about things.
It doesn't. No,
it doesn't?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, that's a relief.
I can read you the quote again. Novels are ruining the minds of young people.
Right. All right. Well,
I do think that there's some slight difference in that a novel is going to take a young person much longer to read, and then,
Well, okay.
Sitting there passively.
So they're more addicted to it. They're more engrossed in it. They're longer in this fantasy world. It's even more dangerous. How about that? That's what was said at the time.
All right. But do you think, Jeff, that there's by denying any side effects of this, that you might be, isn't there something opposite moral panic that also has value?
In individual cases, young people can have issues that can be exacerbated by these things. Absolutely. But those are individual cases. And it's being generalized to every young person out there, which gives no faith to them. Right. And so you have, on the one hand, you have Jonathan Haidt saying a few years ago, free-range children, we're being too protective of our children. And now he's saying we must protect our children more. Make up your mind.
I do think that there's a broader problem here. I wrote about this a little bit over the weekend. I published a story on this group called Mothers Against Media Addiction that was came out in March is when they were founded. And over the last 6 months, they have grown into this huge, nationwide movement of parents and allies that aren't parents of all, genders and assortments that are all really concerned about this issue. And
there's always a kernel of concern. There's always a kernel of concern. Yes, but is it legitimate?
I went in with all the thoughts that we bring up on this podcast, and I'm not saying I'm convinced fully by their argument, but I do think that their founder, Julie Scelfo, brought up some good points when I asked her. I was like, "Isn't this just a moral panic?" All the things we just said, and she's like, "I understand that, in a vacuum, this can seem like a moral panic." But the reality is that parents are really struggling with how to deal with this issue. And in many cases, there are not individual solutions. That what they're trying to advocate for is systemic changes either to the social media companies, or if it has to be, lawmakers forcing the social media companies to do something. She was giving an example of she's really on top of this issue. She has 3 kids. She's devoted her whole life to it. And she's like, I was trying to monitor. She's like, I didn't give them a cell phone till 13, 14. She said she waited till then to give them to a cell phone. And then she installed some kind of spyware program on it that I guess monitors what your kids do and restricts them from certain apps and gives you an alert whenever, they could be interacting with content that you say is, I guess, addictive or harmful to their health. And she's like, I was getting hundreds of alerts a day, sometimes
how many of those
500.
How did she judge those alerts? What? Oh my God, everything's harmful.
Well, no, she's safe. She was able to, because she didn't work at this time, she was able to go through each one, assess the risk correctly. But she's like, that is an incredibly privileged thing to do. Imagine if you were a working class single mother of many kids. Your kids need a cell phone to be able to, get to and from school, or maybe they have jobs, or let's say you've done everything right. Your kids don't have a cell phone, but they're given an iPad or a laptop at school, because most schools do that. It is really difficult for parents to be on top of this, especially in working class worlds. And I do think that there's something
have some more faith in our kids. Did you talk to our kids? Did you talk to our kids?
Yeah.
But do you think it's right for the government to intervene in this? Like, oh, parents, you can't be expected to protect your kids. Is too hard because you got a job, so we'll take care of it.
We're going to make one definition for all parents and all kids.
I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily what these people are arguing. I think they're arguing that there should be common sense
that TikTok should do it.
That the social media companies should be prompted, because they've been asked very nicely by parents. They've been asked very strongly by parents. Parents have, sent emails, tried to get their kids' TikTok accounts taken off. TikTok has done nothing. They're out of options. They've protested outside. They're like, they're out of options. Maybe our local, state, or, federal representatives will be able to force this company to do something so that we're able to better protect our kids. And some of these are common sense asks.
I understand that.
Have parental controls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm seeing ads now for Instagram's teen accounts. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think? Yeah. Is that a step in the right direction? It looked like it was.
I definitely think it's a step in the right direction, but I think, and I mean, they're pretty much directly responding to what a lot of these groups want, but I think it's cool that it took until right now, like a week or two ago, after you've had, a dozen plus state bills on this, as well as the advance of something like COSPA, which I think is the most aggressive version of this at the federal level. I think they're doing it because they're scared. And also something that this person I profiled, Julie Scelfo of Mothers Against Media Addiction, pointed out is in Meta's announcement of this, they also buried in there that Meta had taken down some amount of millions of pieces of content that were in violation of its rules that had been pushed to child users repeatedly.
Jeff, we're going to have a problem. She's now covering the youth.
I know she is. But I got to say one thing.
Now she's suddenly very eloquently and kind of convincingly advocating.
But
listen, I went into this being fully on the side of this podcast, and I still think I am, but I also have to argue that there are some points to this that I don't think it should be totally open and shut. Nothing should be done.
And you're getting exposed to parents who have a very strong feeling about it.
But let me start with the title, addiction. There's basically no research that qualifies, and the flim flam people I write about in my book, who started these all kinds of things where they make a ton of money bringing your kid to these places because they're addicted to this. Now, can some kids be addicted to it? Yes, but is that universal? Number one, no. Is it being used by moral entrepreneurs to make a fortune on money? Yes. And does it qualify as addiction in any structure? No. And I've got it in the book where the first papers about this were written by people who were full of crap, who made it up, who if you look at the methodology of how they determined people were addicted, it was just absolutely ridiculous. And so I question the beginning of the whole premise that says that this addicts kids. And that thus we have to solve that problem. So when it starts at that framing, it's real hard to then pull back to, I think, a rational discussion.
Yeah.
So they can sound rational about it. They can sound difficult about it. And again, are there cases? I know a father whose kid got crazy into online gambling, right? And went through a ton of money, but had other underlying issues.
Well, actually, I think we should ban online gambling.
Well, that's another thing. And I think lotteries, too, by the way, should be banned.
I do agree. I think the word addiction is incredibly dubious. And I think it's incredibly interesting that there's no real research showing, to one way or the other, and no research supporting the idea of addiction. Right. But I guess in this case, the reason why they're called Mothers Against Media Addiction is because it's a good acronym. The acronym is MAMA. And they're also structured in the same way as Mothers Against Drunk Driving, another influential parental advocacy group from the 80s.
If I may quote, if I may quote.
From the web we weave.
Page 72. Kimberly Young founded the Center for Internet Addiction in 1996, presented a paper to the American Psychological Association declaring, quote, the emergence of a new clinical disorder, Internet addiction. Mind you, Google didn't come along until 2 years later in 1998, Facebook until 2004, and so on. She declared that folks had become addicted to the crude, ugly, slow, horrible early web. She modeled her definition of internet addiction on pathological gambling and created questionnaires to measure the affliction's severity. How often do you find you stay online longer than you intended? Oh, well.
Oh.
How often do you neglect household chores to spend more time online? Well, yeah. How often do you form new relationships with fellow online users? Hi, new relationships. How often do you snap, yell, or act annoyed if someone bothers you while you're online? Well, yeah, if you're interrupting something I want to do. How often do you fear that life without the internet would be boring, empty, and joyless? Yeah. How would any of us answer these questions, I say, about the internet or a binge-worthy TV show or a good book? This was the beginnings of the whole meme of internet addiction. And then from that basis, a lot of assumptions are built atop it. And the problem is there are kids and are cases where they have real problems and coexisting conditions that need attention. There are kids who are there for reasons that require other kinds of care. But if we blame the technology for it all, we lose the chance, I think, to see the deeper structure. And that's the problem I have with people like Jonathan Haidt. Sorry. Thank you for that.
What do you say, Paris?
I think those are fair points. I think it's a little reductive to try and, just in the same way that you're arguing that it is reductive to reduce this issue to, it's just media addiction or it's just kids addicted to social media. I think it's also a bit reductive to reduce these parents' grievances in the same way. But
I think they're reducing their own to that. That's part of the problem I have is they're playing reductive on their own issues of parenting. I'm not criticizing the parenting. I'm saying that there are so many pressures on kids today, and I sympathize with that, absolutely. But they've reduced it to that. They're being reductive, aren't they?
I mean, yes and no. I think that, if you're looking at some signs in protests, sure, those signs are reductive. But I was really surprised people I spoke with in this movement from this specific group. I spoke to some of the chapter leaders because now they have 20 some different chapters across the US in more than a dozen states, and they've only been around for 6 months. And I spoke to some of the chapter leaders, and they were really well spoken and thought out in this. One of them, one of them quoted Hegel to me. Another one, of course,
she knew her audience. She said, "Aha."
Another one of them was really reductive about the issue, but that's just one chapter leader. I think that. I don't know. I think that there are good people on both sides to,
Yes, there are. I want to give you another little bit of history,
cursed
if I may.
Statement.
So in 1996, a Columbia professor of psychiatry, Goldberg, I forget his first name, founded as a joke, and it said joke in the URL, it was a joke, the Internet Addiction Support Group. And people joined it. And in fact, the survey I just told you about, Kimberly Young, who did the survey, where did she recruit her people?
From
people who said that they were internet addicts to say that there was a generalizable internet addiction. Yeah. Goldberg regretted the coinage of internet addiction disorder. IAD is a very unfortunate term, he told the New Yorker. It makes it sound as if one were dealing with heroin, a truly addicting substance that can alter almost every cell in the body. To medicalize every behavior by putting it into a psychiatric nomenclature is ridiculous. If you expand the concept of addiction to include everything people can overdo, then you must talk about people being addicted to books, addicted to jogging, addicted to other people.
And I think there's compulsive behavior associated with all behaviors. And if you get compulsive, then, it's like an addiction.
You've got to dig down into.
Yeah. And you need to process it. I also, though, respect parents who feel like they're dealing with with a very difficult, powerful entity in big tech and don't feel responded to or listened to. I do think parents certainly are the ultimate arbiter of this, right? Whether your kid has a phone, whether your kid is online, whether your kid is using TikTok, that's up to the parents.
But Paris has really.
I don't think government should intervene if
the tools to do that are very difficult to work with. So that's why they're looking for help. I get that.
Yes. And companies should be offering all of those parental controls. I don't think the government should get involved with banning TikTok or requiring.
I agree on that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, or age verification, but I think they should quite reasonably require companies like Instagram to do what Instagram's done with the teen accounts. I think that's a good thing.
Paris, did you think you were ever addicted to the internet?
No. One last thing. Well, I mean, I guess that I'm addicted to the internet now. I wouldn't want to go without it, but I wouldn't say it's like addicted in a negative way.
When I have a spare moment, I look for a screen and I notice
I've got to be listening to something at all times. It's definitely warped my brain, and I can understand why parents want their children to grow up in a way around that. One last thing I wanted to say, just because, Jeff, I think you'd find this cute, in the sense that you think people leading this movement are looking at this fully myopically. One detail I did learn about Julie Scelfo, the founder of Mothers Against Media Addiction, is that she got in the 90s a master's in media ecology, but she also studied under Neil Postman and was his assistant for quite some time. And it really informed her thinking about all of these issues. Specifically, we talked at length about Neil Postman's approach to the effects of technological change not being additive but ecological. So I mean, the people in charge of this are thinking about these sort of things.
She probably knows Jay Rosen and Siva Vaidyanathan too.
Yeah.
Yep. She was a New York Times journalist and came into this. I know you hate the New York. She was a Newsweek journalist before that. If that's back when Newsweek was
back
good.
when Newsweek was Newsweek.
Yes. But she came into this because in her time reporting, she reported on mental health issues and college campus suicide crises, and started to look into research in the 2010s about the impact of social media perceptions on teenagers' mental health. So I don't know,
Jeff, when you're older than us, when you were in. Do you think this compulsion to constantly be entertained? I mean, that's Neil Postman's book, right? Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Yeah.
Is this always been going on, or is this something more recent? Were people in the 50s willing to sit quietly without a screen or some other form of distraction?
To what was available, yes. There were exactly the fears about radio. Precisely. Okay. There's The Hooked Generation, I think it was called. There was a book that was all about how radio was damaging children, and it was awful. Obviously, television too. There were Surgeon General reports. There were congressional.
I guess we've always
hearings,
wanted to find ways to amuse ourselves.
Well, but is it amusing
ourselves to death? Neil Postman,
yes.
Right? But the things that we think are damaging and amusing ourselves suddenly become culture and art. Don't forget that what did people have in their homes with huge numbers, amazingly huge numbers, pianos?
Yeah.
Because how else could you get music? Right. You had to make it.
It's sad because people used to make music at night and they used to entertain each other.
But it was probably crap.
Well, it wasn't good.
Awful. And they could turn on the radio and they could hear Rachmaninoff.
Yeah.
Is that so bad?
Yeah.
One point, yes, because live music is always better.
Wait.
I brought up this
even
exact.
If it's bad. Even if it's
even if it's bad. Actually,
music you're playing for yourself is always better.
What if your uncle is playing and he's really terrible?
Knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, Mother Brown. I think
it's all relative then, right?
We wouldn't have had Paul McCartney except for that his father had this bad habit of launching into song on the banging on a piano at home. I have to say, I do think we've lost something community-wise because we don't entertain each other anymore. We let others do it.
Oh,
and
no,
I do think
that
there's.
We're isolated.
Well, no, we're being
entertained. Entertaining each other.
We're being entertained by other people in a vacuum. It's like a level of you're being entertained in a kind of lonely way that may feel like you're interacting with another person, and maybe you are. Maybe you're commenting. Maybe you're making TikToks for yourself. But for many people, it's a passive consumption experience that can be kind of isolating.
Here's Paris's article.
How is what we're doing right now, or how's watching TikTok more passive than watching television or reading a book or sitting in a movie theater in silence? The culture is entertaining itself now.
So I brought this kind of point up to the Mama founder when I was interviewing her, and she brought up a point that I've been kind of thinking of. I don't know if I want to say I fully agree with, but it did give me pause. And then she says one of the fundamental shifts that really has changed things right now for kids is that, I hate to say it, but back in the day, as she said, we might experience media, risque or boundary pushing media when you're a child by getting to stay up late and maybe like watching an R-rated movie or getting to sneak out to go see something or listen to something on the radio. Like those, in many cases, were discrete events that were temporarily bound somehow. Now, with the advent of like smartphones and an endlessly scrolling amount of content in a feed, children can consume content passively forever. There is no stopping point whatsoever. And it is incredibly easy for them to be doing that at all times without any breaks. And that is
Abby
not good.
To the bookstore, and she would buy $100 worth of books. I mean, literally 3 or 4 feet worth of books. And she'd be done with them the next day. And I thought, this cannot continue. This must end. She was addicted. She probably didn't sleep that night to reading. I think there's a certain amount. Now, by the way, this is your article. Absolutely, everybody should read it. Mad Moms Stigmatize Drunk Driving, the Next Target Social Media. And I think you do a great job in summarizing this story. But I think there's a little bit of nostalgia.
And I agree. It's why I'm saying I don't entirely agree with it. But I do think that there's an interesting point there in the omnipresence of content.
Yes, the matter of scale.
I'm not sure that it's entirely convincing in the same way, but I do think that there's something interesting there.
It's the matter of scale. Like it's not a different kind, but it's a different scale.
Yes, scale.
I had to take a picture of the TV screen.
Because Jeff is watching MSNBC while we're doing this.
No, actually, it's the aftermath of Kamala Harris's interview with Bret Baier on Fox. And so they just have, I wish I could show it to you this way, but I won't. Attack of the 5'4" woman.
Oh, dear.
Kamala rages against the light. I had to take a picture of that. I'm sorry. I knew I was rude, but.
All right, let's move on.
Media going on all the time.
This is a conversation that we will be having a lot. And I think it's a good conversation. It's an important, and I'm glad you're on the beat, Paris. I think that's great. Yeah.
I've got to figure out how to, what's the counteraction to that?
To what?
I'm interested. I mean, despite the fact that I'm arguing devil's advocate right now, my position on this is entirely neutral. I don't have kids. I don't feel any particular way. I do think intellectually it's just very interesting. And this was, I don't know, a reporting challenge that I do think informed me of alternating viewpoints than what we typically discuss on the show, and in a way that I couldn't easily dispute.
Good.
And as I remember, you got a cupcake out of the deal.
I didn't get a cupcake.
I thought you had a cupcake.
He brought so this is what we were talking about before the show last week, which the reason why I wasn't on the show 2 weeks ago is one of the reporting excursions I did was I attended a flag football, what I thought was a flag football game of the founder's son. Typically, he was actually teaching flag football to other children. But at some point, her son came up and brought his mom the remnants of a cupcake, and Jeff thought that was me being bought.
Payoff.
But I didn't eat. I know journalistic boundaries. I said
honestly,
no, thank you to the cupcake.
If you are subornable by the remnants of a cupcake,
the remnants is the scary part here. Yeah,
I think you probably should get in a new field, but you're not. That's the point.
I'm not.
You're not.
Steel cage up here. A steel mind, like a steel trap.
The cupcake did not beckon. You're watching This Week in Google. Paris Martineau, she writes for The Information. Always good to have you on, Paris. If you have a tip for her, or you are a mama.
Here's where you go.
Martineau.01 on Signal.
If you see a tree that's overgrown and taking over the sidewalk, let her know that too.
There you go.
Do let me know starting in November.
If you're in Bushwick, she's got a pruner.
She's got to prune that bush in Bushwick. Yep.
Yeah. Jeff Jarvis, Professor Emeritus of Journalism at CUNY, soon to have a new position. But honestly, I don't think you should take a job. I think you should just be forced to continue to write because your books are so great.
I have thought of that. But
yeah, you could be a
Write your way
full-time.
out.
The Web We Weave is the latest and really a good discussion of all of these topics. And actually, it's perfect to have you and Paris on because you bring a lot of informed opinion to this matter. So
well, Paris brings actual reporting.
I have an opinion, but it's not informed. How about that?
That's your job.
My kids are 30 and 32. I do admit, and I should probably always disclaim that Henry would not have a career if it weren't for TikTok. So
He wouldn't be a best-selling author if it weren't for TikTok.
Yeah.
number 7 on the New York Times bestseller list.
We couldn't say this last week. It was a secret. Now we can say it.
Yeah. Not only number 7 on the New York Times bestseller list for, it's a weird category. It's like oddball fiction, nonfiction or something. But anyway, it's there. In fact, I'll find it for you.
Yeah, what's he above? What did he beat out?
Well, let's do it. New York Times bestsellers. He tells me, and I don't know how he knows this, but I guess his publisher told him his was the best-selling cookbook in the world last week, which is pretty good. He's in advice, how-to, and miscellaneous. So here you go. The top 7. Trevor
Noah, hard to beat.
Yeah, hard to beat. Noah Trevor, Sweet Tooth.
I think
Good
he's
Energy.
off because it's Wednesday, so it's come out again.
Oh, it's off. Oh,
yes. It's a new week.
Oh, shoot! It was number 7. Is it off?
Hold on, we can go back a week if we.
Yeah. Oh,
if you
you're right. It
press
was
me up or
October,
right.
the week of October 20th.
He was above Heal Your Gut, Save Your Brain.
There you go.
What in the world? And the new
Beat
menopause.
the Mayo Clinic. Not bad.
Yeah, he beat the Mayo Clinic. So, I'm sad he's not on the list anymore. It fell off immediately. Well, that just means you guys need to go out and buy more copies of the book. Salt Hank. It's called Salt Hank: A 5-Napkin Situation, and it's probably, it's discounted everywhere. I think 40% off. I can't believe it fell off the list. That's
the whole list thing.
Fad.
It's just.
The whole list thing it's just about sales in a certain time, and for most authors, your first week is when you get on it because it includes pre-sales.
Yes, exactly. And by the
old
way,
nonfiction, it does not take that many copies to get on.
I told him that once you're a New York Times bestselling author, that's it. They can't take that away from.
No,
they can't take that away from you.
Every future book will say that on the cover.
Right. His publisher was extraordinarily happy. Simon & Schuster loves Salt Hank. All right.
Quick update. We got our TikTok got restricted to live audiences over that conversation.
You're kidding.
What?
Yeah. Check out our Discord. Check out Discord.
What does that mean? Restricted to live audiences. We got this. Maybe it was. Are you sure it wasn't the vibrator?
In the live chat. Check all.
Live restricted for some audiences. Your live. Here it is. Your live contains themes that some may find uncomfortable, and has been restricted. Reason: regulated goods content. Because we talked about drugs. It was the marijuana.
It was the shears. It was.
Didn't we? Did we talk? No, that was the other show.
Talk about marijuana. No.
What did we get?
Didn't talk about marijuana. It could have been the vibrators. It could have been the shears.
I think
it could
was
have
the
been
word addiction.
I think it was from the previous show where we talked about whiskey. Honestly, I bet you it takes them a while, doesn't it?
No, they're quick.
So what does this mean? Restricted for some audiences means if you're under 18, you can't watch us.
How did I?
Maybe our reach is shorter. I don't know.
TikTok seems to do active moderation transcribing audio. Notice that election info popped up as soon as the topic came up on SN. So they do it in real. This was yesterday. They do it in real time.
Maybe it's because he mentioned Kamala Harris is 5'4" and angry.
People on when did this happen? Do you know, folks on the?
We don't.
You've derailed the podcast, Benito.
But I blame Jeff Jarvis. So thank you very much, Jeff.
Jeff.
You're the one who said addiction, Paris.
I take no responsibility.
Just like a journalist.
All right.
Yes.
I think we could pretty much wrap this show up. But are there any stories that you wanted to do that we didn't get to? I see quite a few.
I do.
Okay. Fossilized bug farts?
Yes. And now, the Poozeum.
How did I know?
You saw the spark in my eye. Fossilized bug farts, T-Rex poop, and more ancient coprolites.
And coprolites. I grew up with coprolites, but look I love this. There's a giant Jeff Goldblum head saying that is one big pile of poop. So there you go. Now we're really going to get taken down on TikTok.
Chicago's Field Museum has sued gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex. Wyoming's Dinosaur Center has a 106-foot Supersaurus named Jimbo. The Poozeum in Williams, Arizona has fossilized poop from dinosaurs, sharks, and more.
Oh, don't go to the website. That's disgusting. I'm sorry.
This is like your website, Jeff.
So disgusting. I'm going to scroll past that. Holy cow.
Oh, did you have a no poop rule on the yuckiest site of the internet? Or was that different?
I think
was it a no
farts.
barf?
Farts were okay. But no poop.
Well, the museum opened in May 2024 near the Grand Canyon and is open to over 7,000 fecal specimens from several different species, including the famed T-Rex.
Story I didn't get to a few weeks ago.
By the way, it's just a storefront. It's not the biggest museum you've ever seen.
Listen, it just came up in my Apple News thing on my laptop screen as I was logging into the Zoom for this. And I was like, this is a classic Twig story.
I love it. It is. And I thank you. Jeff?
A few things to mention real quickly. Joe Trippi started a social network that he thinks will be better than all of the others.
Who's Joe Trippi?
Joe Trippi was Howard Dean's campaign manager. He was famous in right. And just by the way, that's all Howard Dean did. It ruined his career.
It's remembered for that
dance
forever.
For 39 minutes, right? He didn't.
Yeah.
Right. He just went
Yeah. Hey, Mike Dukakis lost an election because he wore a funny hat and a tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in the old days, you could get disqualified for the least thing. Right. Now, you really got to work at it. So it says called Says Us. What makes this the best?
If you go to says.us and look for their
About Us.
They're About Us. They have their
For democracy and community, a social media
Declaration of Independence.
That's a little pretentious.
No.
He doesn't like centralized control.
No,
you cannot be anonymous. You need authentic identities and reputations.
I think it's a privileged position to take.
Yeah. But is it centralized? Yes. So I don't understand.
Yeah,
I mean, Mastodon's not centralized. Says Us.
Anyway, there's that.
Okay,
Canada.
Joe. Good luck. I wish you luck. I think I'll join. I'm going to sign in.
Yep.
Everybody should do it.
Another one just to get on the record here is that Canada, when they did their news protection bill, Meta pulled all news off its platforms, and the users are getting around it by putting up screenshots. And now the Canadian government is going after Meta, saying, see, you have news, you have to pay for it. So what's going to happen is now Meta is going to take down all the screenshots, so there'll be even less news for Canadians.
How is it going to take down the screenshots?
They'll recognize the screenshot and take it down.
By the way, this so-called authenticated social network, all I had to do was give it a phone number and it texted me. I don't even have a name or anything, but I'm in.
Oops.
So it's not that authenticated. I mean, it's easy to have a phony phone number.
And then here may be a story for Paris. There's one story here for Paris might be that parents are suing a school district because their kid got in trouble for using AI on a paper. That's up at line 80. But also this one, there's a short selling company that goes, there's nothing but short sells companies that is now going after Roblox, contending that it's a cesspool of sex.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But, well, that's the thing. But they're also short selling it So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, they're trying to make it.
Well, this is like a short seller who launched a news organization like a year or so ago, and they announced like, hey, we're hiring quote unquote journalists and analysts.
Right.
We're going to do investigations into stuff, publish them, but beforehand we're going to short sell as well as it. I will say
Mark
Hindenburg
Cuban
research.
did that model about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's laughable, but I will say if you read their research, it is kind of compelling if what they're saying is true. I mean, they did say the main point of their Hindenburg's thing on Roblox is that they believe that they are miscounting their like unique users and lying to investors about it, and they get into that.
Surprise,
but in
surprise.
regards to kids, they specifically found they like made a
burn money for their entire existence. You don't even need to say any more.
Yeah,
they've never.
They made a like kids account and immediately found like a bunch of groups that had child pornography as well as people soliciting sex from minors.
But as Hindenburg's, but there's a conflict of interest at work here.
Yes, because they're short selling it.
Their view,
which we should explain, is they're making a stock market bet that their Roblox stock will go in the dumper and they will make money.
I challenged Mark Cuban about this at an online news association meeting. Oh God, 15 years ago, he was doing it. And he was saying, I've been journalists, but I said, but you have an interest. He said, yeah, but I'm doing the reporting. So
no. Because you're doing the reporting with the goal of making money through short selling that's not good. That's why we're pretty clear. Nobody who works for Twit owns stock in tech companies, and Jeff
that's
is
not
always.
True. I own Amazon stock because I used to work there. So.
Oh, well, that's all right. You came up honest.
Jeff owned Google stock famously,
and Jeff always disclaims that, but it's a smaller number.
Well, I also have QQQ. I
don't think that counts.
And I didn't realize it's what if you look at what it owns.
It's a tech, but it's an index fund. So there's no one company that you can.
There's a few companies that are.
Yeah, I mean, I have a number of index funds, chiefly the S&P 500, but Apple is overweighted and stuff like that, and so I guess you shouldn't own any stock. I should just own carborundum mines or something. That would be the best.
And you're making so much money in the podcasting business that you don't need the stocks. Yeah. There's one more very important news. We talk about media a lot here. We need to say that the New York Times has ceased publication.
Yeah, that's the Onion
story.
The Onion.
Don't believe it. It's the Onion. Actually, one other story that is fairly important and is a little political TikTok, so I won't call him. I will just say a male presidential candidate has weighed in on breaking up Google. Sort of.
On this show? Are you sure you want to talk about this?
Sort of.
Google changelog is over.
He says he would do something about Google. In an interview with Bloomberg's editor-in-chief, John Micklethwaite, Micklethwaite asked Trump if Google should be broken up. Trump zeroed in on the Justice Department to rant about a DOJ lawsuit against Virginia election officials. But Micklethwaite got Trump back on course. Did I say that? The candidate in question on course. The question is about Google, Mr. P. He expressed his unhappiness about how bad stories seem to surface more on Google. And he says, yeah, look, Google's got a lot of power. They're very bad to me. Very, very bad to me. I can speak from that standpoint. They only have bad stories. In other words, if I have 20 good stories, 20 bad stories, and everyone's entitled to that, you'll only see 20 bad stories. I called the head of Google the other day. Sure. And I'm saying, I'm getting a lot of good stories lately, but you don't find them in Google. I think it's a whole rigged deal. How does he make everything about him? That's what's amazing.
Yep.
I think Google's rigged, just like our government's rigged all over the place. Google would not confirm if the person in question had actually called Sundar Pichai, the actual CEO of Alphabet. Then Micklethwaite said, would you break him up? Well, I do something. I give them a lot of credit. They become such a power. And you've got to give them credit for that. How they became a power is really the discussion. At the same time, it's a very dangerous thing because we want to have great companies. We don't want China to have these companies. Right now, China is afraid of Google. China is a very powerful, very smart group of people. I will tell you that from personal experience.
He could be referring to anybody, guys. Anybody could have said this.
Anybody.
He's not naming names.
I'm not naming names.
Yeah, no, it's not.
What's funny is that news organizations often just clip out like China's afraid of Google, and it makes it sound sensible. But if you read the whole thing, it's not that sensible. So anyway, I think it's a threat. Frankly, I think everything's a threat. There's nothing that's not a threat, he says. But sometimes you have to fight through the threats, like Google. I'm not a fan of Google. They treat me badly. But are you going to destroy the company by doing that? If you do that, you're going to destroy the company. Well, you can do without breaking it up is to make sure it's more fair. They do treat me very badly. Oh, and he told me, apparently when he talked to Sundar Pichai, he told me, no way. You're the number one person on all of Google for stories. This is like a second grader, which probably makes sense, to be honest. Most of them are bad stories, but these are minor details, right? And it's only bad because of fake news, because the news is really fake. That's the one we really have to straighten out. We have to straighten out our press because we have a corrupt press. Applause. Wow. I don't know who said that.
I don't know.
By the way, New York Times says breaking up Google would be hard to do. So there's that.
Yeah.
We talked about the possible remedies that the DOJ floated, but this is going to go on for a long time. We don't know what's going to happen.
I put those in there only because you had last week's links above, and I thought, well, if we're going to talk about Google being broken up, I'll put these links back in.
No, thank you. That was an error. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the time has come to wrap up this show with what we do every week, which is our picks of the week. I would like to start today with Paris Martineau.
Today, Defector Media,
I love Defector.
Sports blog that I think is fantastic, published their annual report, which is where the business team goes through their finances.
Oh, dear. They actually are open about it?
They're open about it, and they're doing well, which just always brings me heart. So I don't know. I always like reading this, but this one I found delightful. They go through at top their, revenue and their expenses. Looks all pretty normal until you get to the bottom where they've got a line for Taco Bell. Last year, they spent $28 on Taco Bell. This year, $0, but there's two asterisks. And it says, under the asterisks, no Taco Bell receipts have been submitted to the company expense reimbursement system in the past 12 months. That is not meant to suggest that the amount of Taco Bell consumed by Defector staffers was zero during this time frame, nor is it meant to suggest, especially given some staffers' historical behavior as it comes to filing expense reports, that zero Taco Bell receipts from this time frame will be submitted to the company expense reimbursement system belatedly in future periods. And I don't know, that just made me really laugh.
What is this line that says lead by alley fees?
That is the website maker I think they use.
Okay.
They use,
that's a lot. They're spending a lot on the website.
Or they
10% of their
do a
income.
bunch of stuff for them. I think it's their back end or their ghost or something like that. Anyway, if you have any interest in how running a media business works, I would really recommend this post, because not to be all Jeff Jarvis about my pick this week, but it's just a very interesting in-depth look into how a nascent media business, 4 years old, only $4 or $5 million in revenue, unexpectedly profitable, about how it works. And they specifically go into the different growth tactics they used, which ones worked, which ones didn't. They're whether gift links works. It's just fascinating. And there is one section of this where they talk about how they tried cross promotion in other newsletters. And it actually, didn't work that well. And they have this brief aside that says, we nonetheless appreciate all the newsletter operators who are willing to take our money. Thanks especially to the one who ended up being the only person who bought an Effector subscription using their newsletter's promotional code.
Oh.
And
So it's interesting. This is of interest to me because we're roughly the same size with roughly the same kind of revenue. Although how they get $30,000 a year rent.
They don't have an office.
They don't have an office. So what are they renting? A houseboat? What are they? Okay,
I don't know.
fine.
I mean, maybe they
space for servers or something.
Yeah, maybe they have an office for some business people or like something like that. It's,
Their platform fees are $350,000. So, wow. But I guess if you have 3.7 million in subscription revenue, it makes sense that, 1% of that would go to, well, it's not 1%, it's 10%, isn't it? It would go to platforms. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I should pass this along
and
to
wonderful to see because they broke away from a failing owner and set off on their own, and they're making it.
Geo Media.
God bless them.
And they're being generous about it.
Yeah, Defector came from when the staff of Deadspin were told to stick to sports by their new owners at Geo Media. They all quit, and quite a few of them decided to launch something new. And now here they are 4 years in, still running a profitable worker co-op business. And in this, they get into kind of the nitty-gritty of how running a successful worker co-op works, into, the challenges of navigating healthcare, and kind of end it with their work towards maybe setting up a structure to help other media worker co-ops come into existence. So I don't know. It brought me.
Yeah, this is fascinating. God bless them for being so upfront. I don't know if we're pretty upfront, but I don't think we'd publish our balance sheet ever.
Lisa's downstairs shaking her head. No.
She says, no way.
Oh.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Good on them. Yeah. Jeff Jarvis.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to be nice to you and not do what's on line 164.
Because we'd be banned immediately from.
Not going to do that one. Not going to do that one. If you stay,
but that's fascinating. Thank you for bookmarking that. I will be reading it later.
I didn't know there were 15 kinds. I had no idea. I think
no idea.
We cannot.
What is the euphemism? So TikTok has a euphemism for everything. It's not. It's corn.
I think it would be something like organism.
Organisms. There are 15 kinds of organisms.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Benito is biting his finger. Women knew. That's who, guys.
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. We'd never figured it out.
We don't know. We don't know nothing.
We don't know. All right. This is the restaurant episode.
Yeah.
Doritos is going to open its first restaurant.
Can we go? Is it New York?
Where is it? Actually,
Can we
I don't
get a
know
big
that. It's going to be
Dorito
in Los Angeles, of course.
It's crypto.com arena.
They're going to have
devastating
Doritos Flamin' Hot Limon Late Night Rita.
God, it would be such a good bit to go take someone on a first date to the Doritos restaurant at the crypto.com arena.
I don't know why, but I feel like my son has something to do with this somehow.
Doritos
It sounds
Flamin'
like
Hot
something he'd be
Nacho
making.
Veggie Dumplings.
Oh, God.
Doritos Nacho Cheese Texas Style Loaded Nachos. Doritos Nacho Cheese Crunchtastic Vanilla Cone. Ooh. Ooh. Oh.
Doritos After Dark Restaurant. It's
It
in
looks
the
like a
crypto.
Taco Bell cantina.
Yeah, I was about to say they don't have like the one thing that Doritos make good is taco shells for Taco Bell.
Taco Bell has
won't have that
the
there.
exclusive rights to that. But
You know
can
who is
get
addicted to Doritos?
Who is?
Kamala Harris.
No.
Loves Doritos.
Well, I'm not going to vote for her then. That's terrible. She just lost my vote. Wow.
All right. So that's one. The other food one is from Taylor Lorenz said they talked about an AI generated restaurant. So if you look at User Mag there, line 162, you will see the number one restaurant in Austin doesn't exist.
Ethos? Ooh, it's pretty though. I want one of
All
these
the
dinosaur
food-
croissants.
No, they're all AI generated.
Oh,
Exactly.
but that would be so good.
Wouldn't it?
Look at a
It's
honeycomb
fake.
pie.
Those don't look good.
Beekeeper's lemon lavender
Yeah,
cheesecake.
no, we want that.
I
For
will
those of you
say,
on the
Jeff,
audio
have you
only,
been
it's
reading Taylor's Substack regularly?
Not regularly yet, no.
Is it
I
good?
read this
What do you
article.
think?
I mean, I think that all of Taylor's stories and ideas are brilliant. I think Taylor's a really good reporter, and I stand by her. But I will say, this is something I notice all the time with people who move to Substack. It's interesting how their prose changes when they don't have,
when you don't have
I
an
assume
editor.
as a regular editor. Yeah.
But she praises her editors. She's always liked her editors.
I mean, yeah, she's a great journalist.
So you know what? Do everybody a favor and hire a copy editor and an editor. They need the work. They need the
maybe
work.
she has a copy editor or an editor.
Wait a minute,
It's
this
just
is like a
slightly
Twitter thing. Oh, I have to go to usermag.co.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
this it? There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
Now, how do I look at it? Oh, there we go. Democracy
Okay,
dies
Grandpa.
on Instagram. This is good. How does the internet work?
What's that thing coming
TikTokers
with
are
that
spreading North
cursor?
Korean propaganda to sell supplements. Oops. There we go again. The business of scanning kids' faces is booming. This is good. This looks like a good.
No,
she's doing good reporting. I can't believe she's doing all of this by herself.
Well,
Yeah,
and they also
she's
Substack
voracious.
did these. Sorry, Paris.
I was just saying she's voracious.
She is. Substack did these debates. They picked, it's like the horrible New York Times op-ed. They had Taylor Lorenz, I think it was Taylor Lorenz having to debate Chris Cillizza.
Oh, no, please.
Oh,
Nightmare.
Taylor, no. No.
Some of this stuff is older, right? Because this is August 31st.
She had a backlog she put up, I think, to make sure she had something there.
Okay.
And then
Well, I mean, she also
later-
has had a newsletter for a while.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah,
just
that's
made
right,
this
she did.
full time now.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So there we go.
Congratulations, Taylor. Good job. Well done. Now, where is this restaurant? Ethos? Where can I go get the
Nowhere in your
It
delicious?
doesn't exist.
Can
it's
I
an
get- no, but it looks-
AI-generated
your
restaurant.
imagination.
No, it's real. Look, see, can you see
You
it,
should lick
don't
the
you?
screen.
Don't
Look,
tempt them.
look at the Twitter macaron.
Oh, that's nice.
That looks so good.
It does.
Oh, a giant kielbasa.
That's for Hank. You got to send that to Hank immediately.
That's a jalapeno cheddar sausage so gigantic it can barely fit in the smoker. So what do they use to generate these? Because they are really beautifully done.
They are.
Mouding hippo croissants. The croissant critter.
Now
By the
I'm
way,
hungry.
the comments on this are interesting. Here's a guy says, I got horrendous food poisoning here. And when I told the owner, he threatened my life. The cops won't take it seriously, but because Giuseppe Fusilli, the owner of Ethos, has ties to the mayor. He came to my house and smashed my fine china, cut holes in my furniture, and beat me up with a comically large hammer. Do not support Giuseppe. Do not eat his poisonous foods. Stay safe out there.
I love the internet sometimes.
Yeah,
God bless it.
You see, and we want to cut it off and keep the kids away from this fun.
But I still want a Moudin croissant. Can I have one, please? This stuff looks so good. Look at the size of that shrimp. And they call
important that
them
it's
jumbo
real.
prawns. I don't know if this is AI, though, really. What is it?
It is AI.
Well, it is
definitely.
Is it? How would you?
Yes.
Is AI really good at this now?
That's not good. If you look at those images, they're very clearly AI generated, Leo.
Welcome to Ethos. There he is, Giuseppe
Look at that guy,
Fusilli.
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe Fusilli.
I think Hank
Our
has pictures of
philosophy.
himself with foods there.
Our ingredients are sourced from local and sustainable farms. Oh, this is
The funny thing is, if
beautiful.
Hank could get in there with something he actually made.
His stuff looks that good. That's why
what
I
I'm
believe
saying.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could sneak real food into
Yeah.
the Ethos feed.
You should partner with the Ethos people.
Yeah, you should.
I don't know if they could afford his fees, but you know.
I might buy an Ethos chef's apron or something just to, support him. Paris
yourself.
Martineau, support her. They do have them, by the way.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Paris. Oh, how about this? I like this. It just says, yes, chef. And it's got Chef Boyardee, Chef Boyardee on it with a kiss. I might get that for Henry. He would love that. Paris Martineau writes about youth issues at
issues.
the weekend
Keeping the youth
on
safe.
theinformation.com. If you're not a subscriber, you must subscribe.
So
No.
I I was up for renewing the information.
Yeah.
I was about to do it, but then it told me that it was more than I paid last time because I got a big deal last time. But I was going to do it. And then I wanted to see the poll of information people, and I was told I can't get that unless I have the bonus level.
Oh, that's
so I got pissed off, I got to say. I got pissed off because it's about the readers, and the readers can't read about the readers unless you're a reader of a special. No, I got pissed off. So for a minute, I'm a hothead. I thought, well, okay, no. And then, of course, immediately I got offered a $100 discount, so I'm subscribed.
They get you back. Yeah,
so
I think
it's $400 a year. How much is the pro version?
Expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
It's the kind of thing a corporately sponsored
it's for
somebody
corporate
would have. Yeah.
users or pro users. It's got like in-depth org charts about all these different companies. It's got data that
company
normally
geeks
users don't
love
get.
org charts.
Yeah.
What does it say? If I hit upgraded pro, am I doomed here? Let me see here. Your first year at $5.99.
Oh, it's just a couple $100 more.
Then it'll increase to something.
But I just want to say that this 15 kinds of organisms article is really kind of a ripoff because there's really only one or two in here.
Well, they don't list.
I will say 15. It is actually about only one.
It's only about one organism. It's not. What's the 15?
So it's
Where's
not
the 15? You lied to me. I know about that
there's
one.
There's an expert in there. Experts always know. So the expert's in there saying there's 15.
Yeah, but they only reveal one.
Right.
This is exactly the sort of article that I assume men in their 60s and 70s click on. Is how many types of organisms are there?
We have lived our entire
You're like, I gotta
lives
figure it out.
in a certain worldview, and we just want to make sure we're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Thank you, Paris. Jeff Jarvis, he is the Tau Knight. No, he's the Knight, not the Tau. Just the Knight.
No, the Tau.
The Tau. No Knight.
I'm the Leonard Tau professor.
He's the Leonard Tau Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Emeritus. Go to the GutenbergParenthesis.com where you can buy his latest books, including The Web We Weave. They're all great. And we will be back here next week as we are every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Yes, we're still on summertime because, as I mentioned last week, the Candy Makers of America did not want to change times before Halloween. So we will change after Halloween. But that means we're still at 2100 UTC. And I mentioned that because you can watch us live, not on one, not on two, but on 8 different platforms, except TikTok, because we said something.
You might be able to watch it on Jeff's Twitter, too, one day.
One day,
someday we dream of being on Jeff's Twitter. But right now, it's Discord for our fabulous club members. Thank you. You're wonderful. We really appreciate the support. Paris is doing it, too. Thank you for the support. That's one. There's also youtube.com/twit/live. There's twitch.tv/twit, LinkedIn, x.com, Facebook, Kick, and now the addition of TikTok. Well, it was brief, it was short, but it was fun. 8 different ways you can watch live. But if you watch live, I would encourage you to download a copy as well, because that way we can count you as a viewer at twit.tv/twig. That's the website. You'll see a link there to the YouTube channel. So that's a great way to share clips from the show. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast player. You'll get it automatically the minute it's available. Club members, it's $7 a month to be a club member. In fact, it might cost you nothing because you can refer a friend once you're a club member. And for every friend you refer, you will get a free month. So the best thing to do is get your referral link once you join twit.tv/clubtwit. And post it everywhere. And maybe you'll never have to pay a penny for the rest of your life. That's easy, right? Twit.tv/clubtwit. And it helps us because that $7 a month pays for this show, all the shows we do. We have advertising support, yes. But without your help, I don't think we'd be able to do what we do. Day after tomorrow, Friday, we're doing a coffee thing with Mark Prince, the coffee geek. We're going to talk with a bean connoisseur about coffee beans. Turns out that's a very important thing. The week following, a week from Friday, we're going to do Stacy's Book Club. If you haven't read it yet, it's very good. Adrian Tchaikovsky's Service Model is the name of the book for the book club on the 25th. Micah's Crafting Corner and a bunch of other wonderful things go on in the club. Of course, the Discord is a great place to hang as well with a bunch of smart people, interesting people. It's a great community. And all of that, just $7 a month. Wow. twit.tv/club twit. We thank you so much for supporting us. We will be back next week. Paris, thank you. Jeff, thank you. And I'm sorry.
We got to do the
and
official.
We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.